And welcome to the Redeye stream. It is 8:10 on the West Coast, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cascade Mountains. And Mitch the Ripper, right off the bat, wants to know. Well, I don't have Lassie. My dog's name is Marley. But hey, Marley, is Doku in the well? No, I don't think so.
No, I'm like Joe Biden's. I'm like Joe Biden's younger cousin. Cousin. I got lost in the closet.
Shut up, Tom Cruise. I mean, sorry, I didn't say that. Do not sue Scientologists. Don't.
And then I pull out my gun.
Well, no, and it's actually funny, right? So before we get started, this song by Tom McDonald, he's an independent artist, no manager, no label. Him and his girlfriend do everything themselves. And he actually hit number one on the charts with this song, finally. He had been in the top 10 before with other songs, but I think he's the new Eminem, kind of, and we'll get into that. But I did watch the president's speech in Pennsylvania. And it was like an hour and a half that he was talking straight. And I mean, what's Biden do? 20 minutes and he needs to take 3 days off?
Well, I mean, come on, dude. Trying to compare Trump to Biden just with the stamina is you can't compare the two, and they're like fairly close for the same age, all things considered.
Yeah, Biden is losing it. He really is. And Dade Lee Murphy, Zero Cool. Well, the artist formerly known as Zero Cool, $5. Thank you very much, sir. This is going to be the longest hour of my life. Louis, is that Louis or Louise Belcher?
I think Louise or Louis. I don't know.
I always get that confused.
So do I. I can't stand that name for that reason.
Moondog. Hour? He's a one-pump chump. Hey, you know what, Moondog? I saw you try and eat some spicy noodles, bro, and you got like, what, 4 bites in? I mean, damn. That was pretty weak. I think Biden could have went 5 bites.
Oh, no, that's mean. That's below the belt right there. That's harsh.
Sorry, he's a Blue Jays fan. I can't fucking help it. Louise from Bob's Burgers. I should have known that. Honestly, I should have known that.
I've only seen that show like twice.
I watched it because we used to have a little Bob's Burger joint in Junction City, and it was funny. They had the Bob's special sauce, right? It was really just Thousand Island dressing, but it tasted good on a burger. And they sold their burgers like plain just hamburger for like 69 cents. And this is in like 03, 04. You know what I mean? Yeah, right? Like, it was awesome.
And also, is it the gimmick now that anytime a restaurant claims, especially like a burger joint, that they have like a special sauce, it's like, bro, this is just like Thousand Islands with like a little bit of ketchup in it. Like, is that the joke now? Is that the gimmick?
I don't know. It's kind of like fry sauce, right? I always wondered what fry sauce was until I accidentally mixed some mayonnaise and ketchup together. And I'm like, well, shit, this is fry sauce. I ain't buying that shit anymore.
No, seriously, that's all it is. It is like mayonnaise, ketchup, and if it's spicy, they just put like a little bit of fucking Tabasco or something in it. Like, there's nothing special about it.
But you guys are going to see what I mean by I think he is becoming this generation's Eminem. And it's funny because he's kind of on the right. Hey, Dade, another $5. Thank you, sir. Hey, I don't appreciate your lack of sarcasm. Another Louise Belcher statement, I guess, or quote.
Quote, I guess. I don't know. I've never seen the show.
But all right. We'll get started. We're gonna do the same thing we did last night, guys, and fuck with the algorithm. So we're gonna stop it and talk about some of the lines in the song. That's kind of why we're doing this. It's a breakdown, not really a review. I mean, I can review like, oh, that's this is how he's keeping cadence and this and that, but Doku ain't into that shit.
Hey, you know me. I talk politics and nerd shit. I don't really talk music. It's not my wheelhouse.
Yeah, all right. So I'm gonna go ahead and go on mute and start this one up.
Hi, I'm praying that the world changes soon. Can get a doobie on a plane, but there's Uzis in our schools. Every dude who touched a boob or a booty getting me too. What you expect from the kids who went to Hooters after school? We're out.
Well, that's one hell of a way to start off.
Yeah, what do you expect from the kids who went to Hooters after school? But the reason I actually paused it, though, the imagery right here, because he goes with this whole the cross thing throughout the video, like he's being crucified. I don't know. You tell me after a little bit more if you think that imagery works. And Dade says he only super chats $10 a week, and I got him this week. Well, thank you, sir. Hi. And as I said in a message to you, I'm saving up to upgrade StreamYards here to the version without the watermark and unlimited hours and all that. And that's going to run me monthly, or they want like 6 months at a time. So, yeah, it's going to cost me a little penny. And we got some merch stuff in the works. Me and Doku were looking at something pretty cool last night. But I just got a phone call from my wife, so I'm going to hit play on this for you guys.
Dodger's in trouble.
Triggered and defensive, we're all racist and we're sexist. We all grew up watching South Park. How are we offended? Now being fat is beautiful. Name a thing that you can't do. Jumping jacks, run a mile, live past 42. Man, it used to be cool to just flip a bird to the system, and now it's trendy to be triggered and pretend you're a victim. It's my race, it's my weight, it's because I'm a Christian. I hate the internet and anyone who has an opinion. And everybody angry if you say white. Okay, fine. Pass me the brush and I'll paint my face to the shades right. Let's talk about
Oh, hey, Northam. Yeah. Northam, is he talking about you?
Right. And Bobby B, what's up, man? Glad you caught us live tonight. I'm gonna try and get back on schedule. And hey, we're 2 days in a row here. That's not bad for lately, guys. Come on now.
Not sure if that's something to wear on your shoulder.
Hey, little victories. All right. Kind of like Biden. I'm going to win Oregon. Yeah, we know, Joe.
Poor Hayden Biden.
But what do you think there? Okay, fine. I'll fucking tin up my face till the shade's right.
Ouch. No, that was good. That was good. Like, and it does point out like some of the hypocrisy of like, okay, everything's racist. All white people are bad. Like, okay, I'll guess I'll change something I have no control over to fit your worldview. Like, my favorite part though is we grew up watching South Park. How the fuck are we offended? It's like, bro, right? Thank you. Finally, someone said it.
Yeah, I know, right? Fucking hell. This is why I like this guy, man. Yeah, and Adam's in the chat. Hey, what's up, man? He says he shared this video a few weeks ago. So yeah, I like this song. My kids like Tom McDonald. I know. Horrible parent. I let them listen to this smut. Well, when am I going to get to listen to it if they don't hear it? I mean, shit. I grew up listening to Metallica and Bon Jovi. You know why? My mother. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but I like the imagery though, as he's a newscaster, and then the other chick's like freaking out because he's quite literally the image you're saying. He's going off script. He's being crucified for his opinions. Like, no, it's straightforward and to the point. It's not the most clever thing in the world, but it's very appropriate.
Yeah, exactly. I'll go ahead and hit it again, and I'll pay closer attention. I was on the phone. I've just heard this song enough. I knew what line that was.
You winged it.
Abortion. Sorry, tell me how this works. Bacteria is life on Mars, but a heartbeat isn't life on Earth.
you know damn well I'm stopping it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? I've been saying that shit. I've been saying it for fucking ever. And hey, the super chats are rolling in tonight. Pinoid News, $5. Thank you, my brother. I'm gonna correct you here. Doku and I are sorry for wrecking the market today. But he said me and Doku. But come on, learn how to English.
And yeah, you know what? That is fucking hilarious that we were on your stream last night. We were talking about how fucking overpriced Tesla is, and then today it's fucking down almost 10%. It's like, bro, I called it. I should have bought some options. I should have bought some puts. Should have done a call put spread.
Oh shit, Moondog's throwing shade back. I have my own StreamYard, Mad Dodge. I challenge you to a super spicy noodle challenge. All right, let me check it and see if I can get them here in Oregon. I don't know if I can. So, yeah, I'll take you up on that. Man, I could eat some Cajun food with the best of them. So, I think I got this. I think I'll be all right.
You know what? I expect both of you to do this. Otherwise, one of you is getting the nickname Andy and the other one's getting the nickname Tonka.
Oh, I don't know. Which one's worse? Fuck.
It's gotta happen. It's out on the internet now for all to see and hear. You're gonna have to put your money where your mouth is. No pun intended.
All right, I will look into it, Moondog. Let me know what the brand is, and do they have a spicy beef? I like beef noodles. Just saying. I'm gonna go ahead and hit play.
Weird. Y'all so stupid. Why are y'all so stupid? Get better problems, I swear to God that y'all want them. Y'all so dumb. People so stupid. People so dumb. People so boo-hoo. Wah, wah, wah. Get better issues, we're gonna run out of tissues. It's so dumb. I'm a hater because I can't relate to gay pride. Call me homophobic because I don't want to date guys. K-tight. I, for one, am not surprised the world declined along the way. Give trophies to children for losing just because they decide to play. Yes.
Oh, I love that part of get better issues, we're gonna run out of tissues. It's like, that's good.
Oh, Pinoid. This dude looks like he likes other dudes.
Oh, shade.
Damn, okay. You must be a Mac Lethal fan, huh? I know which side you fell on that beef. No. Right there, though, with the gay rights thing, you know, the homophobic thing being thrown around still is kind of redundant at this point. You have the right to marry. You have the right to adopt children. Hell, you have idiots transitioning fucking preteens at this point. So, yeah, just fuck off with that shit. I mean, stop calling people homophobic. It's old news.
The homophobic thing, like that was the ist and ism buzzword of the fucking 80s and shit. Like, you guys got your pride parades. You got like no one cares about those anymore. Like it's whatever. Like, yeah, y'all can walk down the street in whatever type of fucking weird outfits it is you want to wear. Like, I don't know why people bring their kids to that shit. That's fucking weird. I think that's, well, different topic, different day. But, you know, they have to be louder now because, again, no one cares. Like, you're cool. Congratulations. I really don't care what you choose to do in the privacy of your own home with your sexual life. Like, stop making it my business. We don't care. Go about your day now. Move along.
Yeah, I honestly believe, you know, and I've said this before, that the state should be out of the marriage business altogether. Really.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. Like, I understand. Like, I understand the argument as to why. Like, people need to know where they're living, and I get it. But leave it up to the fucking pastor. Like, the state shouldn't be involved in that. That's just my opinion. But I did like that line. What? I'm homophobic because I don't want to date guys. Like, okay. Like,
yeah, it's pretty good. This guy looks like a trailer version of Richard Spencer.
Oh, damn! The chat's got some zingers tonight.
Yeah, Pinoid's not a fan.
I mean, I don't really like rap, but I don't mind this guy that much.
To vote and hate the politicians. Hey, this is a democracy. It's partly your display. We exercise our right to vote and hate the politicians. Hey, this is a democracy. It's partly your decision. Hey, this is weird. Feels like this a different year. If I identify as a female, then when my balls and penis disappear. Children want a gender switch and hating men is feminist. Depression and anxiety are trendy. We're too sensitive. Invented 80 genders. Mad the world is not accepting it. Then gave them more attention than normal women and men can get. What a contradiction. Being human is so tragic. Focus on minorities, ignoring all the masses. Hallelujah, everyone. Activism saved the planet. No more plastic straws and paper, just paper straws wrapped in plastic.
I love that one.
Yeah, and what he's, in my opinion anyway, what I think he's saying there is, this is all so ridiculous. I mean, that's the next thing coming along, right? I mean, like, they banned plastic straws, and then they're like, use paper straws. That makes a lot of sense. Kind of like banning plastic bags. Use paper when we live in Oregon. So if it's 100 degrees out, your soda or whatever soft drink or alcoholic drink you have rips through the fucking paper. That's when it's nice out. Well, what's the other weather of Oregon? Pouring down fucking rain. So paper bags really work then too, don't they? No, they don't. And instead of plastic bags everywhere, you have these stupid ass fucking cloth bags everywhere. Especially with the pandemic. They started giving the bags away for free. Because the whole point was bring like a box or bring your own shit or we're going to charge you at the store. Now they're not even charging anybody. So the litter is still fucking there. They're not solving any problems. They're just switching them up so they can talk about the new problem later.
And also, what he's referring to, the specific instance was when California banned all the plastic straws. They started using those garbage ass paper straws because paper and liquids go really well together. But like the ones you were seeing at like McDonald's or like the ones they had at like Starbucks, they were paper straws literally in a plastic fucking wrapper. It's like, bro, you didn't change the problem at all. You just made it twice as complicated as it needed to be. You should have just kept the fucking, like, you should just start selling like 10-cent reusable straws, like, if you really want to do something.
And Pinoid, I actually agree with you on the face tattoos, right? But I was watching Mad Child do a battle, and Mad Child has face tattoos too, and the guy he's battling against has face tattoos. So he goes, like, one of the lines in the battle is, "I was just about ready to make fun of your dumbass face tattoos. Then I realized I have dumbass face tattoos." Like, they are self-aware. They do understand that was fucking stupid. And they probably did it when they were fucking 17 illegally anyway.
Yeah, probably.
But I'll go ahead and hit play again.
Congratulations.
Y'all so stupid. Why are y'all so stupid? Get better problems, I swear to God that y'all want them. Y'all so dumb. People so stupid, people so dumb, people so boo-hoo, wah, wah. Get better issues, we're gonna run out of tissues, it's so dumb.
Look, I get it. It's like the world is going crazy. Seems like a school shooting happens almost daily. The racism, rape culture, hatred that we're facing is way too ingrained for our hashtags to change it. We've become so lazy and complacent, afraid of our generation. We think activism's Instagramming memes and complaining. It's a problem when there's actually actions you could be taking, but you're triggered, so you just cry like a baby.
Damn, he's got a point.
Yeah, no, he does have a point. And, hey, Pinoid, DM me ideas of songs to break down. I'm going to do one at the beginning of each Redeye now. It's going to be a thing we do. So, hey, if you don't like this one, maybe tomorrow you'll like that one. I don't know. But you're right. Tupac didn't tattoo his face. You're completely right. But what he says right there is... let me roll it back real quick because I was reading the chat and I kind of got sidetracked.
Go for
it. So you just cry like a baby.
That's right. You just cry like a baby. That's what I was thinking of. You hear about the guy with the flamethrower?
Oh, yeah.
when they arrested him, he was in the fetal position, crying like a little girl.
Yeah, I did.
That's what he's talking about. Shit like that.
I did see that. What I want to know, I have two questions. First off, bro, if you're willing to go out and like burn shit down, like, well, first before that, flamethrower, like, what? Does this guy have a can of like fucking deodorant and a fucking Zippo lighter, or do you have like a straight up like a water gun, like a super soaker or some shit with like a fucking lighter like attached to the end? Like, I'm curious. I want to know. I haven't seen anybody clarify it in any of the articles I've read. But again, like, bro, if you're willing to go out there and like violent protest and like protest, quote unquote, fucking air quotes here. You're willing to go out with a flamethrower and like burn shit down and riot and do all this crazy crap, and then you get arrested by the police, bro. Why aren't you using the fucking flamethrower? Like, you keep talking about like how you want this violent revolution and like, you're gonna one of ours for each one of yours and shit. Then you fucking get arrested, and then all of a sudden, like, boom, you break down in the fucking fetal position and start crying like a fucking fetus.
Well, no, and once again, Mad Dodge Productions, the views expressed here on the Redeye stream are not a reflection of Mad Dodge Productions or any single one of the panelists. And we never, absolutely ever, issue a call to action. Okay, that's not what we're going to do. We're not telling you to go fight Antifa. We're not going to tell you to go join them. Okay? Violence for political purpose is the definition of terrorism. All right? That being said, disclaimer out of the way. If you're showing up at this riot with a flamethrower, you best be prepared to fucking use the son of a bitch. If I show up with a fucking gun, you best know that fucking firearm is fully loaded and I am prepared to use it. Or else, why the fuck am I there with that firearm? Why not carry a stick like Base Stick Man?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not there for looks or props. Like, I'm sure a lot of these idiots would prefer it to be. Like, and I'll say that's not an exclusive thing to one side or the other. Like, I've heard people on the more right-leaning side of things being like, well, if you go, with like 10, 12, 20 deep, all in tac vests with AR-15s, you're just asking to be targeted and, you're trying to agitate and everything. It's like, no, because I'm not the one rioting. I'm there to defend my business. Like, or if I show up like what happened in Richmond and damn it, what's fucking Whitmer's capital? Lansing, I think, Michigan. If you're there for like a pro Second Amendment rally, you're just exercising open carry rights. If Antifa shows up and starts fucking around, well, that's really stupid because guess what? I'm going to defend myself and I have the means to do so. Hey, on the other end though, like Antifa shows up with this crap, they do it not because they're trying to defend themselves. They're clearly trying to agitate. Except for this one kid, apparently.
Well, no, and we're going to talk later. The Proud Boys are coming to Portland again. So we're going to touch on that later. You have a story about the headquarters of Antifa, which is quite interesting.
Oh, yeah, I did my digging on that one. Hey, that's quite the interesting one, but we'll cross that bridge, no pun intended, when we come to it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to let the last 30 seconds roll on this one, and then we'll talk about the song overall. And I want your idea on, are we looking at, other than Pinoy, because Pinoy hates him, obviously, but are we looking at the next Eminem? I think maybe we are.
I'll keep that in the back of my head.
Y'all so stupid. Why are y'all so stupid? Get better problems, I swear to God that y'all want them. Y'all so dumb. People so stupid, people so dumb, people so boo-hoo, wah, wah, wah. Get better issues, we're gonna run out of tissues, it's so dumb.
All right. It was just a hook. If I would have remembered that, I would have just wrapped it up anyway. But yeah. Okay, so what I mean by that is Eminem, for people that went to high school when I did, right? I was class of 03. Eminem was controversial. He pissed everybody off. They had hearings over him pretty much. Remember? I mean, they were saying they were editing his music because he was talking about Columbine. I mean,
oh yeah, I remember all of that shit. Like, he was he was the controversial. Him and fucking what the hell's that one dude? Him and Marilyn Manson. They were the two getting blamed for like all the violence and Columbine and shit like that. I am sadly old enough to remember that.
Yeah, exactly. So he was kind of on the left, and he definitely is now. Okay, he's only progressed more to the left since he became rich and, you know, doing
Funny how that works, huh?
Rich people do. But Tom McDonald's on the right, and I wouldn't call him alt-right, which I think Pinoid referred to earlier, because he said, why do all the alt-righters look like they're in the closet? I don't believe Tom McDonald's alt-right. I don't even think there is an alt-right anymore. I think that was a flash in the pan. And I had saw on Facebook 4 years ago, 2016, I had went on a short little rant, right? Because it says your memories or whatever. And I had went on a rant about Richard Spencer. And I had said, are you guys fucking stupid? He's a socialist. He's on the left. This alt-right thing is fake, okay? There's nothing to see there. He is siding with Trump to piss you off. And now it's 2020, and who does he endorse? Not even joking, but Joe Biden. I was right all along. You know, I might as well go into full razor fist mode. Fuck you, I was right. Fuck you, I was right. You know what I mean?
I forget who it was, but it was Young Ripa. Young Ripa was every now and then he'll debate some of his like naysayers and detractors and shit. And there was one where this guy was like, well, you know, he's like, why are you calling me like conservative, alt-right, this and that? He's like, no, I'm because Young Ripa's a very outspoken libertarian. And the dude's like, well, what do you think about the alt-right? And he's like, fuck them, they're socialists. I was like, damn. I mean, he's got a point. They are. Like, if you look at ideology from the people who actually openly claim they're alt-right, they're fucking socialists. Like, they are. Like, they believe in big government and state power over the individual.
Okay, so do you actually subscribe to horseshoe theory then? You get to a certain point and you become the same thing as the opposition?
I don't really like horseshoe theory, but to a degree, yes. I would say like the further right you get and the further left you get, you have to look at it from the political compass scale. So I think like you can touch the corners, and that's where you'll see your horseshoe and your what's the word that the fucking progressives always love? Intersection. That's where you see your intersectionality. Like the alt-right can believe in this white ethno-state state power over the individual, like they're fucking ethno-national socialists. And then you have fucking the Not Fucking Around coalition on the other side of the coin. That's the same damn thing except for black people. I would make the argument that the Not Fucking Around coalition has more in common with the alt-right white national ethno-state nationalists than, you know, the Antifa fucking BLM Marxists do. Like, you're going to see social or full-on libertarian, like socialism, authoritarian, libertarian, and anarchy on the other ends. Like, you can mix and match all of them up, but end of the day, they're all extremes.
Pinoid is saying Nick Fontaine. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his last name right.
Nick Fuentes, I think.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't, yeah. And Milo is all right. Milo is kind of non-existent in social media. They kind of kicked him to the curb. Even worse than they did Alex Jones. I mean, I could find Alex on BitChute all day long, but I haven't seen anything out of Milo since his book tour, right?
Oh yeah, like right after the whole thing with the book deal and him getting called out for was he like did he have sex or like advocating for having sex with like a 15 or 16-year-old?
Well, I don't remember if he was advocating for it or not, but what he really was doing was bringing it to the forefront, the real problem. If you look at the homosexual community, they do prey upon teenage males. They do.
No,
Where
I
you
know
think
it's
the
been a
thing comes from, right?
oh
I mean,
that's been a problem in that circle. Like just the LGBT community in general, like they've had that kind of skeleton in the closet for a long time. I'm not saying it's the entirety of the LGBT community. I get that, but it is a lot more prevalent amongst the more vocal activists of that community than we're led to believe. Which is why you see a lot of these people who do get caught with CP or engage in acts of pedophilia. They tend to also be pedophiles. It's it's been there for a long time. It's just now it's a little more visible, especially when they're trying to fucking normalize it. Looking at you, California.
well, and it's not even that, because when he was speaking about this, I believe it was before his book tour and everything, they had to dig and find the dirt. It was on some obscure podcast or something, if I remember correctly. But the thing still remains, somebody needs to talk about this. I'm straight. I'm married. I don't know about that culture. I don't know what's going on. But obviously Milo does. Who better to talk about it than somebody who was preyed upon? Because that's what he was talking about. He was preyed upon, and he doesn't feel like he really was preyed upon. Well, that's a you issue, buddy, because you were preyed upon.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a rebuttal for that. The only reason I know to the extent that I do that it's been a problem for a while is because I remember even back when I was younger than I am now, it was an issue then. It's just an issue that wasn't widely visible or widely talked about because it was an uncomfortable conversation. And that was still at the time where, more than it is now, I would argue, where any type of criticism of the gay community was immediately cause for a lynching. So through that shield of being a quote protected class, you weren't allowed to criticize the more unsavory elements of the community. Now I don't think that so much is a case because it's more acceptable in our society today than it to be homosexual than it was back in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, and as we had stated before, I don't give a fuck what you do in your bedroom as long as it's not preying upon another individual's rights. And I'm sorry, the age of consent is a thing for a reason.
Yeah, no, and like I said, I agree with you. Like, as long as you're not breaking any laws, like, I don't really care what you choose to do. Like, you can have whatever kink you want. I don't care if it involves whipped cream and handcuffs. You can go be Don Lemon all you want, but just leave kids out of it.
Don Lemon, that's a whole different fucking topic there. I mean, this dude, all white people are racist. Isn't his boyfriend white? Shut up.
Yeah. Yep. Yes, he is. Also, there's that weird habit of him wanting to stick his hand down his pants and then make people smell his fingers, but we won't get into that.
That is pretty weird.
It's extremely weird, especially when the person you're doing it to is like your bartender or some shit. Like, bro, you realize that you're kind of a well-known face.
Isn't that sexual harassment somehow? I'm just saying.
It definitely is. Definitely is.
All right. So let's talk a little bit about the president's speech today in Pennsylvania. He got the endorsement of the Boilermakers. That's a union that's been around for over 100 years, So good for him. He got the New York police union's endorsement yesterday. So, I mean, the endorsements are coming in, but they always do. The Republican unions endorse the Republican. The NRA endorses the Republican. Yeah, the SPLC endorses the Democrat. We all know how this falls. It falls this way every 4 years. But he went 90 minutes. First off, like I said at the opening, compared to Joe's 25, I mean, 25 minutes and homeboy needs a nap. The president is out there on a tarmac in an airport. I don't know how hot it was in PA today. I don't know. I know it was 100 degrees where I'm at, but I'm over here on the West Coast. But he's standing there giving an hour and a half long speech. Then he gets to jump back on his chopper and head back home. But, you know, it is what it is. He did say something that I disagree with. And we had talked about this off air, but I'll bring it up here. Okay. I do not support ripping down any monuments. Confederate, Union, Founding Fathers, any of them. I do not support that. And he was talking in his speech, and he's like, yeah, and I put out an executive order making it mandatory 10-year sentence for vandalizing national monuments. Good for you. I support that. But then he said this, and I also made it retroactive. Wait a minute, Mr. President. That's unconstitutional, and that's a dangerous precedent to set.
Yeah, I don't agree with the I mean, when he says retroactive, what I want to know what he means by that. Do you mean that someone who did something well past the statute of limitations can be charged, or are we talking about, you know, the guy who's like spray painting the Vietnam Memorial, or the what was it, there's one Marine memorial that was destroyed. You know, there's plenty of instances that we can use of, you know, people being videotaped or filming themselves vandalizing these monuments before that executive order went in place. So are we talking about that? You know, people being charged for a crime they should have been charged with already. They're just now being charged with the 10-year sentencing instead of what it would have been previously. He needs to clarify that a little bit, because it can be taken in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, and if you can retroactively create laws, then we're in a lot of trouble, guys. And Thomas Connolly, what's up? He says, money rules. You can buy anything. You're absolutely right, sir. You're right. And down there is some links where you can buy some Mad Dodge Productions and Redeye merch. So thank you for that segue in. I appreciate it. But no, think about this, guys. Really, put on your thinking hat and make sure it's not tinfoil. I'm looking at you, Mitch.
Damn, just going straight for the person. Not even being subtle.
Yeah. But no. If a Democrat comes into office and somehow, some possible way, they ban guns, what if they can make that retroactive and say, no, we're not doing a buyback. No, fuck you. We're going to free all the quote-unquote non-violent drug offenders. And you gun owners, that's now a felony to own or possess a firearm of any kind. And don't even try to turn it in. We're just going to go house to house and start arresting you. They could do that, because if they could create retroactive laws, then they can create anything they want and then set it retroactively anywhere.
Yeah, like I said, he really needs to clarify on that. And I mean, I believe the law like that would be easily shot down in the Supreme Court, but that's not the point. And the time it takes it to get to the Supreme Court, and then for them to give their ruling and then announce their decision, that's as much time as they need, especially if all firearms have to be registered, because you know that's what they would do first. By the time that ruling comes out and everybody gets released, guess what? Your weapons have already been confiscated. You've already been charged with the crime. You're still going to have to go through court. Like, it still gives them all the time they need to actually act on an unconstitutional law. So you're right. This is kind of a dangerous precedent. And also, I would love him to clarify if this applies to statute of limitations. Like, what are you doing? Like, there's too many questions here to just make such a broad stroke statement like that, especially when you're, you know, the number one star on the national stage right now politically.
Yeah, and I think Batman is more talking about a democratic republic, which we do operate under, than just pure democracy. Because pure democracy, as Benjamin Franklin stated very correctly, is three wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner.
No, yeah, again, it's I can't talk. Direct democracy has always been mob rule, and that's just the way it works. It's the 49 and the 51%. But yeah, no, in regards to this, I don't know where I stand. I feel like this is a very careless statement, and I feel like making that particular executive order retroactive wasn't necessary in the first place. They're on film committing a crime. Like all you have to do is just figure out who they are and then arrest them. Like, and then bring it to court. Like you have all the evidence you need. So this feels like something careless, and it does feel like he's pandering to the more hardline base of his. But that's my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, and he did bring up the polls as well, and saying that he is better now at this point in time than he was in 2016, which I believe he is factually correct on, even if you use the mainstream media's polls. The lead of Biden shrunk to just 4 points in Iowa, I believe, or it might have been Pennsylvania, because they were talking about PA because that's where he was having his rally today. So it might be in Pennsylvania. And if he's -4 and the margin of error is +3, I mean, he's within 1 by CNN standards. He's probably up by 10. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's probably true, because if you look at a lot of the mainstream media polls, whether it's CNN or Fox or the New York Times, Washington Post, rewind 3 months ago, and they had Biden up, 8, 10, 12, even sometimes as high as 20, 22 basis points in certain states. And now it's basically looking like Biden, according to these polls, which I think are horribly, horribly skewed, because we know most Republicans don't engage in these polls or participate, nor do they even get polled to begin with, so they don't even have a chance whether they wanted to or not. And they're already insanely biased. You might as well say that margin of error, to be more accurate, is probably closer to somewhere between 5 and 8 basis points for state by state. So if Biden's looking like he is now on CNN and Fox News polls, I would argue that Trump is probably up realistically at least 2 or 3 basis points in PA as of right now. And the longer all this rioting crap keeps going on, and we see people like Pelosi and Cuomo and Wheeler keep pulling the stunts that they're pulling, it's just going to drive away the moderates and the more politically disengaged, because you have to remember the politically disengaged, i.e. the people who aren't like me, you, and Penoid, they don't pay attention to politics until it's like a month before election day. Then they're essentially like the procrastinating student who wants to just sit and play video games until the night before the test. That's how they act. So I say let this shit keep going on. Trump should say, you know what, this is the hill you chose, you get to die on it. Because the more it goes on and the closer it gets to election day, that's the more people that are not going to be voting for Biden. So they're digging their own grave on this one.
How can you, with good conscience, vote for a man that you're probably 60-40 at least? I'm more like 95% sure he won't survive the first term. Have you seen these men? They go into the presidency looking great, and then after they leave, they're fucking decrepit, dude. This job kills you.
Well, yeah, remember I was on the phone with you last night when I was talking to that one dude from Congo out front of the gas station. He brought it up too, and we talked about that. And again, black dude with a South Korea hat from Congo. And he's like, yeah, look at Biden and look at Trump and look at how healthy and energetic they are by comparison. And Obama was way younger during his presidency than the two of these guys are. Look at what he looks like coming out after 8 years. I don't think I don't think he can actually complete his term with the type of health that he's in. And I'm not even talking about his mental faculties. I'm saying health-wise. Like, did you see his speech today? If you look at his mic hand, you can already see there's a like a needle mark from an IV in his hand. Like, like the type of IVs they give you. I'm sure anybody who's had their wisdom teeth pulled and they went under for it. That IV they stick in your hand. That thing looks like it's still fresh. Maybe, barely 48 hours old at the best. So that, and also on top of the fact that Biden most likely has dementia. Like, what? Why would they even pick this guy as the front runner? Like, sorry, dude, that's elder abuse.
Well, actually, that's a good point and a valid point. And if you remember, when Ron Paul was running, they were like, well, Ron's in his 70s. I mean, would he survive a term? And they were bringing that up during the primaries, right? Why is nobody talking about this with Biden? And like Pinoid said, at Mad Dodge, dude, Biden has had 2 aneurysms and 2 brain surgeries. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but if I take Pinoid at his word here, it takes only 1 aneurysm to kill you. Homeboy survived 2. Third strike, you're out.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, mental faculties, I don't think Biden has. I don't think he has enough cognitive word I'm forgetting to actually serve as president in a way that would make anybody comfortable. Like, this is not the guy you want with the nuclear football. He can't even remember what state he's in 1 out of 3 times. Like, but the reason they have Biden, this has been my long running theory for ever since rumblings of who was actually going to be the nominee before we even knew it. I think I called it on Lord Nurgle's Stream of Corruption first. I said it's going to be Biden-Harris. Why? Harris they can push. She's establishment enough that it doesn't threaten the old guard power, but she has enough appeal that she'll still get the begrudging support of the more extreme aspects of the left. The reason they're picking Biden is because he's a placeholder. He's a Manchurian candidate. Like, the second he wins the presidency, if he wins, I give it a week before the inauguration date, and they're going to say, oh, nope, his physician comes out and says he's mentally not in good health. He's physically not in good health. Like, he can't serve as president, and it'll go to Harris, and then Harris will be the acting front runner at that point in time, and then they'll just shoehorn whoever they want in as VP. I'm telling you, that's their plan. And I'll bet you fucking dimes to a dozen, it's going to be, if it's not Clinton, if it was Harris, I would bet you would probably be someone like Cory Booker.
Okay, but Kamala, what has she done? Really? Not much, which is why she's not the top of the ticket. And Pinoid sent me an article here, and since we're just doing a passing discussion of Biden here, I'll just read the headline. It's from the News Journal. What Joe Biden learned from his life-threatening brain aneurysms. It surprised me, but I had no real fear of dying, Joe Biden wrote of the brain aneurysms in the 1980s. The then senator had surgery with a 50-50 chance of survival. If he had already had aneurysms in the 80s and now he's in as bad shape as he is now, and I didn't see the speech. I watched the Trump speech. I did not watch the Biden speech. I mean, I'm sorry, I couldn't spare that 20 minutes. But if it looks like he has a fresh IV in, I knew somebody who had an aneurysm, and she said that her family had told her after she had the aneurysm that her whole personality changed and she was a different person. I wonder if that happened to him in the 80s, and then maybe he had another one and it's happening again. Because I swear to God, he doesn't know where he is half the time.
No, yeah, I mean, if the guy's had 2 aneurysms already, and he's at the age he's at now. It explains why he's lethargic, falls asleep, because the other day on live error, I think it was on CNN, he actually did nod off there for a second. It explains the IV in the back of the hand, the needle mark. It explains why he can't remember which states he's in. It explains the rather emotionally charged outburst. And I'll give the guy credit. When he gets angry, he's still got some spunk for his age. I don't work for you, vote for the other guy, dog face pony soldier. Like, yeah, he has his moments of energy, but the dude is not fit for office, man. I mean, anybody that's being honest about it at this point in time can see that. And so, I mean, hell, man, let the guy rest. Like, stop using him as a freaking placeholder Manchurian candidate, you heartless bastards. Let him go drive his freaking forest green vet and shit, and like sit in his basement reading books or some crap. Like, leave Biden alone, damn it. He's earned it at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. He wants a fact checker at the debate. Well, I thought that was the moderators. My bad. You need another fact checker? Oh, wait. Like, do you want fucking Wikipedia to fact check for you? That way your staffers could write the facts ahead of time? Or are you going to wear an earpiece like Clinton? I mean, what are we going for here, Joe? Because if you're going to interrupt a debate every answer with, yeah, that's factually correct, you're going to have no flow to the debate. This isn't going to be a debate. It's going to be a witch hunt. And the witch is Orange Man.
No, yeah, it's gonna be an exercise in what's the word I'm looking for? Having trouble with my words today, guys. I apologize. It's gonna be an exercise in futility. Like, Trump's gonna say something, then they're gonna cut away from the debate, and they're gonna fact check it, and then they're gonna go to Biden. We'll probably miss half of what he says, and it's gonna go back to Trump, and then they're gonna pause it, and they're gonna fact check it again, and we're gonna miss another half of what Biden says, and that's gonna go on and on and on to the entirety of the debate. We know that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. And you can continue, but Penoid says in the article, it says his personality changed afterwards. Yeah, and I really didn't read the article. I was talking about a true experience. Like I said, I talked to this lady. She was one of my friend's grandmothers. And she had told me, she had an aneurysm in her 40s, and it totally changed her. And she had to learn how to tie her shoes again, for God's sake.
I mean, that's not uncommon for anybody that has any type of brain injury whatsoever. And that's where all the magic happens. That's where everything that defines you as a person is stored. Like, let's be honest. People can say, "Oh, well, I'm this, that, and everything behind." No, dude, the only thing that defines you is what's sitting in between your freaking ears. Yeah, it's your gray matter that defines you as a person. And I'm sorry, right now, Biden doesn't have it. So, I mean, if you go back and look at just look at some of the interviews and stuff he's done back in even as early as the 2000s, going into Obama's election, the dude was a completely different person then than he is now. Like, even his speech patterns have changed. So, again, I'll say it again. He's nothing more than a placeholder right now, and the Democrats know that. They trot him around when they need to, like a show dog, and then he'll talk for 10, 15 minutes from his basement. Like, there's a reason they don't want him out, like, actually physically walking around, especially not in the heat, because I don't think he can actually take it. His body's not up for the challenge.
Well, no, and now that I was sitting here thinking about it, I mean, really, Joe Biden, he's not only just a placeholder for Kamala, but she would be a one-term, so a half-a-term presidency. She won't get elected on her own. And when it comes to his personality shifting, that kind of would make sense, but all the politicians change. Well, not all of them. The ones true to themselves don't. People like McCarthy never backed off. Say what you want about him. He at least had a line in the sand. All right? But if you look at the Democrats that have served since what, the 70s and 80s, like the Joe Bidens and the Nancy Pelosi's, right? The Bernie Sanders people, their stances in the 80s, I bet you, are way more conservative than any stance the Democratic Party holds now. And you can't really say that's an evolution in thought, because these people had private lives for the most of them before they were elected. They already had values ingrained. Do you think I'm going to change that much from my 30s to my mid 40s? I doubt it. I mean, I might get more conservative, but I doubt I'm going to go more liberal.
I mean, you can look at just
they're faking it, is my point.
well, yeah, you can look at what a lot of these Democrat politicians espouse just as early as during the Obama presidency. If they were to say the same thing they did back in 2007, 2008, up through 2012, they would be considered conservative, given the current party stance that it is right now. And it's not that these politicians ever changed. They've always kind of thought the same way. They know how to talk the talk, like, and they're pandering. Like that's 90% of what politics is pandering. It's rare that you'll find someone who actually follows through on what they say on the campaign trail. But it's really more of an issue of the Overton window has shifted amongst the left, much further left, to the point where even if you bring up the idea of border security or maintaining the degree of sovereignty that we have now as a nation, I'm not saying go more isolationist or more nationalist, but just holding the standard that's in place at the end of the Obama administration, that would still be considered conservative under these current standards that the Democratic Party holds, because their moderate base they've lost. They have to pander to the radical left, and they know that's the only chance they have of winning. Like, the moderates are done with them. Like, I'm sorry, man. Once the well of goodwill has run out, it's almost impossible to get back. Like, you can go an entire year without any mistakes, slip up once if it's bad enough. Sometimes you don't even earn that trust back. So the Democrats are desperate because they know that. Anyone in politics knows that. Hell, anyone in business knows that. Like, I'll bet anybody $5. Name one person who's ever worked at a job and through either sheer incompetence or just ineptitude has lost the company thousands of dollars just from one mistake and kept their job. That doesn't happen.
Unless, of course, it's the owner's son. I mean, I could probably win $10 with a quick Google check. But Bobby B posts. He just noticed that the Post Millennial is reporting that Antifa murderer was killed by the police when they went to arrest him. I would like the link, Bobby, but I can't show it on the show. Our friend MC actually got in trouble for having an image of a gun in the background of his morning show. So YouTube is hitting hard on anything to do with gun violence, probably because they want to protect Antifa.
Actually, I'll check that right now, because the last thing I saw about him was he was doing an interview with was it Vice? Which, when I saw that, I was like, wait a second. Just the other day, we were talking about how his sister turned him in. Did they not arrest him? Because, like, first off, why the fuck is Vice interviewing this guy? But if that happened, that's big news, and I'm be surprised if I haven't seen it yet. What did he say? The Post Millennial?
Yeah, I've never used the Post Millennial before. My kids are headed to bed though, so let's segue to the Portland Antifa story, since we were kind of talking about Antifa. Lay out for them what you found, if you will, and I'll let you know when the kids are in bed. Gotcha.
So no, I'm sure any of you that follow me on Twitter have probably already seen this, but there is a video going around just today. It's gone viral and it was posted by a guy. I forget his YouTube channel. I think it's Never Alone Without Christ is his YouTube channel. But he's coming off the highway, walking down a set of stairs on the side. It's obviously in Portland, and to his left, there's a tent. It's not a tent city. It's actually closed in. There's privacy fence around it. It's in a parking lot. It belongs to Star Park Festival Parking. They're a company that owns, pay by the hour parking lots, basically. And it's supposed to be a camp that was set up by the city of Portland for homeless people to, have some shelter, not be sleeping in a random ragtag tent underneath the freeway somewhere. Well, as this guy's going down the stairs, he's filming, and you see two guys come out, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that guy, that's Antifa." And he's like, "Oh look, there's Trumpet Man." Trumpet Man, for any of you guys who don't know, is a Antifa protester that we've seen many times. He walks around without a shirt and a trumpet, being loud and obnoxious like they all do. He's in this camp too, and dude's like, "Oh, see, I found it. I told you. This is where they're housing the rioters." And one dude comes up and he actually shoots at him with a slingshot 3 times. In the description of the video, the two individuals that are yelling at him, the guy that shot the slingshot at him, they actually follow him 5 blocks after he's leaving. So what this means is that everybody's been asking, well, where are they housing these people? Are they putting them up in hotels? No, this is actually clever. Because of the way Seattle and Portland are structured as a city, for homeless, they provide shelter, food, certain services. I believe in Seattle, you can actually get, if you go to a certain care facility, it's funded by the city, you can actually get a couple of bucks to go ahead and grab food or something like at a McDonald's. So they're taking advantage of these city services for their housing to meet basic needs. And you're wondering how they've been able to sit here and riot for over 90 days straight and not run out of money. Well, there's your answer. They're using city services and donations. That it explains why you wouldn't want to use hotels, because first off, there's too many eyeballs on you. It's way too easy for someone to be like, "Oh yeah, like let me jump on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook and be like, yeah, I work at this hotel in this city, and we see these people come back every at 4, 5, 6 in the morning every night for the past month. They're all wearing black. They're all they look beat up and shit. It would be really easy to figure out where they're housing these people. Not so much if you're going to a privacy fenced on city property, because the city did buy these 2 parking lots to use for this homeless encampment. Well, not only you're protected by the city, you're protected by the privacy fence, but you're free from prying eyes, because you're not going to see a lot of these people who counter protest these individuals go walking around. I believe I counted it. It's about anywhere between 13 and 20 blocks away from where a lot of the rioting actually does take place. So they're within walking distance. Unless you followed these guys, you're not going to know that this is where they're staying. There's also another video journalist, a different guy. He's in front of another one of these homeless encampments, one of these makeshift tent cities, and he's videotaping there. Well, they know who he is. They claim he's a far-right videographer, video journalist, and he actually recognizes one of the guys there as being at the Antifa protests. And the dude's like, "Yeah, I am." Why do you think a lot of the people that get arrested at either Seattle or Portland aren't residents of Seattle or Portland? If you're smart, Rose City will take some of their people and move them to Seattle. Take advantage of the city services there, claim homelessness, claim this, claim that, because technically they're not a resident of the city. They can do that. Same thing, Seattle, go to Portland. Do it that way. That's how they manage to sustain it. And logistically, it's actually very smart. You can do this on the cheap. It keeps eyes off of you. And guess what? If you try to actually go to one of these homeless encampments, one of these tent cities, and you start trying to do something, like vandalize it or harass these people, well, that's city property. Guess what? now you're going to be arrested. So they already have a built-in shield. I would even argue they don't really need the Soros money if they're doing things this way. And just to hammer the point home for anyone who might think I'm stretching the facts here a little bit, go watch that documentary that was either NBC or MSNBC did, but they were talking about the fall of Seattle. This documentary came out a couple of years ago, I think it was. And in that documentary, they're talking about how if you're a drug addict, they'll hand out a little bit of drugs. They want to give you a clean needle, so to prevent the spread of STDs. They'll give you food. They'll even give you money in some cases. They'll provide you again with housing. These tent cities, people will actually jump on the on boxcars, rail cars, and they'll travel from like California, like LA, San Francisco, and they'll travel up to Portland, Seattle, get some cash, maybe get some drugs, stay the night over there in one of these tent cities, get some food, and then when they're done, ride the train all the way back down to California. And this apparently happens enough that even the residents who are close to these tent cities know exactly what happens. Like they know the people who are actually from Portland or from California that aren't Seattle residents. So if you want to know why Antifa has such a strong presence in Portland and Seattle, and to some degree California, but not the same, it's because of the policies that these cities have in place. It's much easier to harbor an anarcho-communist group of people who don't hold down jobs unless it's inside some like worker-owned communal coffee shop or some shit, who don't really fit into a normal society, don't really have an aspiration to start a family or buy a house or own a car. Well, it's the perfect environment for something like that. It's like someone had a good analogy. It's like if you don't clean your house, then you're just inviting in cockroaches. I think it was either Peanut or Excel might have made that one. Peanut, if you're in the chat, let me know. I think that was you.
Well, no, and here's the thing. Antifa, they slid into the homeless culture on the West Coast, at least. And the thing is, like, once again, I was homeless at 16, so I've met some of these people. There's people that ride the trains up and down. There's, oh man, my friend, it's a different Dave Doku, but he has been homeless for years. I think he probably still is. Fucking idiot. He can never get his shit together. But he was telling me, yeah, man, I rode the train down to California. And I found this homeless camp outside of Modesto or some shit. And, there's bitches there that will just hook up with the dirtiest homeless motherfucker there. And they're like hot as shit. And they are actually looking for the most scuzzy looking motherfucker there. Like, you guys don't get this homeless culture that Antifa slid into. And then you wonder why all these Antifa idiots look like they're fucking homeless. You know why? Because they probably fucking are. Like these... I kind of laugh when MC says it all the time. Oh, they're all middle-class rich bitches. No, a lot of these guys are just homeless fucks with a drug problem and nothing better to do.
Well, and I was watching somebody else do commentary on this particular video that's going around, and she had a really good point. Some of the easiest people to take advantage of are people who have a drug addiction, strong enough to the point where they can't kick it simply because they're either that deep down the rabbit hole or simply because they don't want to. And so they're very easy to take advantage of. So all you need is a couple of, these diehard, Marxist, anarcho-communist, whatever you want to call them, to infiltrate this kind of group and let the ideology just kind of grow organically. And that type of thing is going to appeal greatly to them. Yeah, they are vagabond. They are homeless. They do have this drug problem. They're constantly out of money. It's not like it's not like they have $10,000 sitting in the savings account somewhere. So the idea of socialism, communism, Marxism would appeal very much to these types of people. Combine that with desperation and the fact that you're probably doped out of your mind, 2-3 days out of the week, yeah, they're very easy to take advantage of. And again, a lot of these people actually don't want to change or conform to society and, I won't even say be successful, but live a somewhat comfortable life, because that's a big problem that LA, Skid Row, and also San Francisco is having. Some social worker there, I forget who it was, but I think she was like a higher up city official, and she was being interviewed, and the interviewer asked the question, like, why can't we actually clean up the homeless problem, or fix the homeless problem, clean up Skid Row, clean up the streets. We toss like this much money at it. It's like one of the largest city expenses that we have, if not the largest. And she said the problem's very, very simple. They don't want to change. They don't want to go to get a mental facility to get evaluated and seek help or seek medication. They don't want to go to rehab. They don't want to kick the habit. They don't want to work a job so they can afford an apartment. They're happy living the life that they're living. So if you appeal to that lifestyle, bro, you have a drone that's more than willing to throw themselves on the front lines for your ideology.
Well, yeah, when they were giving requests for their little get-together outside of the White House, wasn't cigarettes on the fucking list? I'm surprised they didn't ask for donations for an open bar. You know what I mean? I mean, you guys are fucking ridiculous. Yeah, can we have some organic tomatoes and stuff? And, yeah, coffee, tobacco, and hard liquor.
And that's the thing. Look at the supply list that they had posted on that freaking plywood sign out front of the Chaz when that was still a thing. They had they wanted like gluten-free or like organic fucking food products, vegan food products, soy products. It's literally on the list. There's soy products, tofu or some shit. I don't know. But yeah, they had liquor on there. Medical supplies was on there. Blankets was on there. Normal stuff. But then they also had cigarettes, and they also had clean syringes. So there's that. At least I guess you guys aren't trying to hide it. And then also condoms were on the list. So
wait. That is propagating rape culture. Thank you very much.
Yeah, funny enough, there were quite a few people that were sexually assaulted while the Chaz was, operating unchecked.
Well, no, and here's the thing, man. I don't necessarily think that these people want to be homeless, at least not all of them. But when you outlaw something and then you require drug tests for jobs, which, hey, as a private business owner, if you want to do a drug test and pay for it out of your own pocket, then fair enough. But having it state mandated is a little bit different. If you would legalize drugs, one, you would know what's in your drugs. Okay? You wouldn't have fentanyl mixed in with crystal meth, okay, which is pretty much Adderall. So pretty much what you're saying, if you want to legalize drugs, is we remove the black market with all the garbage and we make it not normalized. It would still have a sin tax and all that probably. But you make it so you could actually regulate it, because you can't regulate a black market. It's just as simple as that. And then you're forcing people to put garbage in their bodies if they want to chase that addiction. And sometimes that addiction overtakes the person. Like my buddy I tried to help. I bailed him out of jail. What'd he do? Right? I had to sign a thing saying he will stay at my house. I will know where he is. If he takes off, I will tell you. And I have never narked on anybody in my entire life. And this motherfucker jacks my cans, steals $20 out my wallet, and bounces after I bailed him out of jail. You know what I mean? People like him want to live that life. Fair enough. But somebody who got hooked on something and needs help to quit, but they're scared to go and get help because what they're doing is illegal and they don't want to go to jail, that's a different story. You do know Sears used to sell heroin kits in their catalogs, right?
Actually, yeah, I do remember that back in the day. like back in the day.
Oh yeah, it was like 1920s or whatever before the Federal Drug Enforcement Act. But yeah, it would come with a syringe, it would come with a spoon, a lighter, and your heroin, all for like $29.99. Thank you, Sears. Ridiculous, but safer than what they're doing now, right? And then you ingrain this culture, like especially in Oregon, man. I don't know why. It pours down rain 9 months out of the year, but these fuckers, there's homeless people everywhere. And they're setting up tent cities. They don't even care anymore. It's right on the side of the fucking road as you drive by. Just fucking tents everywhere. Motherfuckers underneath fucking tarps fucking sleeping at 3 in the afternoon because, well, if they sleep at night, the cops will clean them up, right? So you can sleep during the day and stay up all night committing crimes. It's been this way for fucking decades. And I doubt it's just a West Coast problem.
And that's the thing. You brought up earlier that you don't think a lot of these people want to live this way. I don't know. I've heard otherwise, and I think the root cause of that problem is, well, they have at least some shelter, they have food, they have water, they can find clean needles if they need to, but if they can't, dirty needles are a problem as well. Where do you think they keep getting them? If everybody was reusing the same needle, we wouldn't be cleaning up needles on the street in Portland and San Francisco, every night. They're getting them somewhere. They're getting them from the city, from these social programs. You can get a little bit of cash from these social programs. What incentive do they have to actually really change if they're getting everything they really want out of life at this moment in time? There is none.
Yeah, no. And I saw a YouTube video, right? This dude, or it wasn't, okay, so it was a video about the drug problem in Canada. So it's a little bit different. But this guy is hooked on fucking heroin in Canada. And he's like, yeah, why get a job? You know what I mean? I go down here to the grocery store, and I guess in Canada, they pay quarters to get their shopping cart. And when they return it, they get the money back. I've seen this at the mall with strollers, right? When I was working as a janitor, the graveyard shift, me and my coworkers would pretty much race through the parking lot trying to get as many of these strollers as possible, because that's like an extra $1 per fucking stroller, and the money's right there, right then. You know what I mean? So that was almost like a bonus on top of my fucking wage, right? But that's what he was doing with shopping carts. And he's like, yeah, I go down there for about 3 hours. I just walk around and go, hey, do you mind if I just put that away for you? He's like, most people go, yeah, go ahead. He's making money just taking their change, not even holding a sign. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, no, like I said, when they're able to at least have a little bit of cash in their pocket, food, shelter, and then they can get their fix, you don't give anybody an incentive to change that lifestyle. In fact, you enable it. And so a lot of these people, I mean, I hate to say it's common, because I was there too when I was fucking addicted to booze and smoking way too much weed back when I was younger. I didn't have any ambition aside from, yeah, I'm bored, I want to get drunk. All right, I'll do some of my studies. All right, I'll work a part-time job so I have a little bit of money. I didn't have any incentive to change anything. Like, I've been there. I understand that mindset. Granted, that didn't last long, because, well, turns out I happen to like money.
Yeah, I don't get that mindset because, yeah, I was homeless. I was in a tent. I had my tent in a wooded area, and I had like 10 tarps over it, all slanted to run the water off and fucking, you know what I mean? Trying to keep my shit dry. And I'm sitting there at day 2, and it's pouring down rain, and I'm like, fuck this noise.
All right, here we go, Dodge. Here we go, Dodge. B, are you still with us? If you are, here you go. This was updated 14 minutes ago today. Michael Forrest Reinl, 48, died in Lacey, Washington, outside Seattle during an operation by a federal fugitive task force, the New York Times reported. Portland police had issued an arrest warrant for Reinhold earlier in the day amid their investigation in an August 29th fatal shooting of Aaron J. Danielson on a night which Trump supporters clashed with backers of the Black Lives Matter movement in Oregon's largest city. Earlier Thursday, Reinhold was quoted in an interview on the Vice website, claiming he was a marked man. They're out hunting me. Reinhold, 48, a father of two, told an independent reporter in the interview posted Thursday by Vice. And of course, there's a fucking ad. But yeah, no, he was he has apparently has been shot and killed in an attempt to apprehend him.
Oh shit, I better grab my fucking gun and go riot right now.
Oh, you know there's gonna be
this.
You know it's gonna be a long night in Portland. Like I said, this was updated 14 minutes ago. That came from Fox News, and it seems like the New York Times are the one who initially broke it. So this is probably making the rounds right about now. So yeah, it's gonna be a long night and an even longer weekend in Portland and Seattle and Lord knows where else. But yeah, so he was in Washington State, so he was already kind of double fucked to begin with. Potential murder charges, and then also on the run, cross state lines. Yeah, not looking good for you, buddy. Not that it matters now.
Yeah. Well, no, and you know, when I started YouTube, I was ragging on the cops for a lot of this shit. But it was for incidents where the person was unarmed. The cops had no reason really to be messing with them, in my opinion. There was other circumstances. But this guy killed somebody. And he's an Antifa member, a member of a domestic terrorist organization, as far as I'm concerned. And I believe as far as the president of the United States is concerned, which you might want to, you know, Antifa, you might want to be more worried about that than, you know, my opinion. Just saying.
Yep, and in the interview, apparently Reinhold had said, "I was confident that I did not hit anyone innocent and I made my exit."
Innocent. Yeah, see, you know what? When I was poking the Facebook hornet's nest today, I still didn't get stung. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I gotta fix that. But as I'm calling people idiots for being idiots, I noticed they're all fine with the riots and the attacks on conservatives or Trump voters or even libertarians, or hell, even if you're just fucking white, right? Okay, they're fine with that. But they were really, really upset about the mace and the paintball guns. I mean, seriously. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Portland's been burning for over 3 months and you're mad about a few paintballs?
Well, the thing is, you guys have been doing the same shit that you're mad about and then ramping it up above that. Like, not only do you resort to the same tactics, but bro, you're trying to fucking pour quick dry cement on the door handle of a police precinct and light it on fire while people are still inside. You throw fireworks into crowds of police. Hell, sometimes they backfire and blow up in the midst of your little gathering. Lord knows how many innocent people have been fucking hurt just because these idiots fancy themselves judge, jury, and executioner. Like, but you're mad about some paintball guns? Like, bro,
Yeah, no, and not only are they mad, but one sentence is, how dare they use violence? And the next sentence is, I can't wait until they get their fucking trucks destroyed. Or we rip them out by their fucking heads and beat the shit. Wait a minute. Wait. What? Like, are you fucking schizophrenic?
well, again, it's that duality mindset that they have where they consider themselves some sort of like glorious, righteous crusader on the path towards whatever fucking utopia, whatever their Valhalla is. So, you know, God forbid that their perceived enemy dare fight back against their righteous crusade of, you know, glorious anarcho-Marxism, communism, socialism, whatever the fuck it is. And ask 100 and you'll get 100 different answers. But no, that's the thing. They, in their mind, in their fantasy land, decreed by the Lollipop King, they can do no wrong. So just to fight back or defend yourself against them, hell, just disagreeing with them, just being on the same sidewalk and not sharing the same ideology is an unforgivable crime worthy of death, execution.
And Mad Dogs Productions news alert. I read earlier Chris Stapleton, country singer, came out in support of Black Lives Matter. He is very supportive of this organization, and he thinks they are doing great things. Tomorrow's news, he will be formally retiring from country music because he will be playing to empty stadiums.
Yeah, if you know your market there, buddy, which you clearly don't, you might have just ended your career there. Good job.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, Chris, have you not been paying attention to the ratings of the NBA and the NFL? Because you might have wanted to look into that first to see if that was a smart career choice.
Yeah, and NASCAR last year, we will no longer tolerate the Confederate flag at events. Next event, Daytona, Confederate flags, as far as the eye can see. Okay, that worked. 2020, NASCAR, we support Black Lives Matter. We only have one black driver, and he's a douchebag, dick nozzle, but we support him fully.
Like, fucking Bubba Wallace, like, that guy is just patently unlikable. Like, have you ever seen any of the interviews or like some of the shit he pulls?
That's what I'm saying. He's a douchebag dick nozzle. Like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, he is. There's nothing about him to like. Like, the guy is just a fucking prick.
He doesn't even win races. Fucking loser. Like, okay. Danica Patrick, first woman in NASCAR. She didn't win very many races at all either, but at least she's hot. She's got something going for her.
And also, she wasn't as bad of a driver as Bubba Wallace. Like, she could actually still hang with some of the better drivers. Like, again, don't get me wrong, she wasn't the best in the world, but Bubba Wallace has trouble placing in, like, the bottom 5.
Yeah, no. For him to win, the other driver's got to push his car.
But yeah, I don't think this country music singer, well, now is it safe to say former country music singer, is going to have a very, very long career after this moment.
And this lazy motherfucker doesn't even help him push the car.
I know, right? It's like, come on, man, you're supposed to stand in solidarity. Why aren't you out there pushing?
I mean, son of a bitch. Fucking Dale Earnhardt Sr. is rolling in his grave. Like, what the fuck is this shit? That's not intimidating, Bubba.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, I got NASCAR jokes for days, man.
I bet you do. Oh, but no. So, yep, Ryan Hall is, I don't care how his last name's pronounced, honestly. Yeah, he is now amongst the not living. What I want to know is what happened leading up to this altercation. Story's fresh enough, we don't have any information. And they're still calling him a person of interest. Pretty sure his sister identified him. So, I don't know. We'll let the police do their thing. But, yeah. If you're in Portland, if you're in Seattle, if you're in any of the cities where rioting has been going on, I would advise you stay inside tonight. Just let at least tonight blow over. But Dodge, you got anything else in the news for us?
Yeah. All right. So there's a wildfire in local Oregon news over by Mapleton. The fire was set by a person. They're not saying if it was arson or, well, I mean, they did pass that law where all cigarettes have to have an additive in them that puts them out so they don't burn and start forest fires. Not that that additive is probably linked to a higher rate of cancer. I mean, don't look over at those facts. Don't worry about it. It's okay. But maybe it was a cigarette butt thrown from a car. I doubt it. I'm guessing it was a homeless camp and they had a fire, and fire danger is extreme. So it probably got out of control. One single spark could set up the woods up here. And I bring this up not because the Mapleton fire is really that important, but I do want to talk a little bit about simple facts. Okay, what happens in nature to a giant wooded area? Lightning strikes happen. Okay, these lightning strikes light fires, and if there's no people around, well, there's no one to put out the fire, so they burn. They spread and they burn. And then what happens out of the ashes of that fire? Seedlings grow. And the woods itself isn't as dry. The underbrush isn't as thick. It's less likely to catch fire again for like another 50 years. But they do not allow controlled burns for the most part here in the national forest. It's ridiculous. If you had a controlled fire with a set fire perimeter, you could probably stop the forest fire season on the West Coast. I mean, how many times does half of California have to burn before we figure this out?
Honestly, one of the guys I follow on YouTube, James Munder, he's in California somewhere. And I see at least once a year a video of him driving somewhere in California, and he's driving past like this massive fucking blaze. Like he's literally driving through flames, looking at his car, trying to get out of the danger area. And again, I swear this happens like once a year or every other year. I know once a year there's always a fucking fire in California somewhere. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And Batman is correct. It's the additives that keep cigarettes burning. That's why hand-rolled cigarettes go out unless you keep puffing on them. That is true. But they didn't take out the additive that keeps it burning. They required a new additive to put it out. So they added more chemicals to it. They made it worse. And then they upped the tax on it again. I mean, a pack of cigarettes costs like 50 cents to make. At the store, you're paying the company about $2.50, and the rest is tax. And you're looking at $6 packs of Camels in some places. That's why every smoker ever has, checks their mail, because they sign up for the fucking cigarette coupons to all the brands. That way you have a fucking discount, because it's really the company losing money, because the tax man gets his taxes. That little stamp on the bottom of your pack assures it.
No, yeah, that's true. And Batman does have a good point. I can think of more chemicals than less that are flammable. So I have a hard time believing that putting more chemicals or more additives into something that is already meant to be lit on fire is gonna make it burn less or put it out. I could be wrong. I'm not a chemist. I don't work for the tobacco industry. Maybe they have some sort of cocktail that they bleach it in or some crap that actually does make it go out. But I would like to see the data on that one.
And it's a nice segue, because now that I think about it, I brought up that stamp on the bottom of packs of cigarettes. That's a tax stamp. Anybody remember Boston in the 1700s?
Yeah, it's not like this country has had a history of being rather adverse to the idea of taxation. Yeah, we've always loved just tossing our money to the government. And it's anyone who thinks taxes are gonna deter people. Like we need tax cigarettes and tax booze, like all these vice taxes. It's gonna deter people from actually engaging in this behavior. No, it's not. It never has. And if you think if it's gonna deter us from doing it, or if it's gonna deter companies from ceasing to provide these services and products, no, it isn't, dude. Anytime you tax something, it just rolls downhill. Which, speaking of taxes, this is about the only thing you missed from the Biden speech. I know this topic that we've passed by, but the one thing he did say is that he would raise taxes on families, keyword there, families, making more than $75,000 a year. From, I think it's like 6 or 8% right now, and he was going to raise, or maybe it's like as high as 12. And I think he said he was going to raise it to, it was either 12 or up to like the 24% range. So I'm sure that'll go over splendidly with suburban America, where most household incomes are at least above $50,000. But I know around here, granted, I live in a more expensive area of the country, but $75,000 a year you can make with a 2-year IT degree, like by yourself with like 1 year of experience. Household income around here is well over $100,000 per year. I would love to see if that's going to be a winning platform, because I have a feeling the answer is probably no.
Okay, all right. Mr. Biden, here's some advice free of charge. Although if you buy a Cabbie cup down in the Streamlabs merch store, that would be appreciated. And you could tell memes to shut the fuck up as well. It's amazing. It's the best, It's going to be huge. Or huge. How does Trump say it?
It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge.
It doesn't really matter. But if you think raising taxes after an economic shutdown that is the pandemic or plandemic, whatever way you want to say it. I mean, English is a living language after all. You're a fucking idiot. That aneurysm affected more than I thought. You can't raise taxes right now. You have no base to tax. Nobody is working. Who are you going to raise the taxes on? Yourselves? The government workers? That'll help the Democratic vote, won't it?
Well, and honestly, a lot of government employees tend to vote Democrat because the more money the government takes in, usually the better for them it is. So, but even then, if you're a government employee living in a household, especially if you're on one of the coasts, I would wager to bet that the majority are probably making more than $75,000 per year in total household income. So it's not going to win over any of the people that are already going to vote for Trump. It's definitely not going to win over any of the people voting for Joe Jorgensen or the Green Party candidate that no one cares about. You're just harming your own base. Like, if you're going to do that, at least like do it afterwards. Don't announce it to the world. That wasn't smart. Somebody mixed up their notes. Like, no, Biden, you're supposed to tell them after you get inaugurated.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a stupid idea. I know Democrats are all about raising taxes, but guys, now's not the time. You know why everybody's rioting? I think it was MC that said this. But everybody's fucking bored at home for the last 3.5 goddamn months. Of course they're burning shit down. Open up the economy. They'll go back to the fucking movie theater and they'll shut the fuck up.
Well, and again, one of the people I was watching that was covering this whole Antifa HQ, as they're calling it on Twitter, she made another really good point. A lot of these Grateful Dead, soccer mom, Burning Man, like, feminist housewife, like hippies and shit from, like Colorado and fucking wherever, what have you. They see the shit going on, like not the actual riots, but like the protest and shit going on. So they go over to Portland or they go over to Seattle to go check it out, because to them it's like just one big fire fest in the middle of the fucking city. Like, they get to fucking bang on bongo drums in the middle of the night and fucking smoke weed and do shit. And it's like, yeah, I guess if you want to do that and you have the time to do it, like, that's cool. I guess you have nothing better to do with your fucking life. But this is the reason that these agitators and the actual violent rioters are able to work unhindered, is because all the other people there that aren't necessarily part of the extremist agitator group. They're providing cover for them. That's the reason these people keep getting away with this shit. That on top of the fact that every time one of them gets arrested, they're out on bail or just released fucking 24 hours later.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was going to say no. They're able to get away with this because there's no political motivation in Salem, at least when it comes to Portland, to actually put a stop to this. Not until Ted Wheeler literally is forced out of his house, like he was.
Oh, and that's the crazy thing too. Hey Ted, you know the guys that are calling for you to resign, the ones that are lighting fires in the lobby of your condominium building? They're supposedly part of your base. They're not Trump supporters, but you keep blaming Trump supporters. It's like, no, guys. Anyone with a single brain cell, you don't even need two. That you're well past the you passed the test. You passed your entrance exam. You're into college with two brain cells. All you need is one to figure out the people causing all these problems are not Trump supporters, and there's no Trump supporters there agitating them. They showed up well after the fact simply to just protest or counter protest. And they don't hang around until midnight to fucking do it. That's when they're going home, because guess what? They still got to wake up, and hopefully a lot of them still have jobs. But even the ones that don't, they still have shit to do during the day. They can't riot all night and then go to their tent city and sleep all day. And that's not how they work. That's not how they operate. These are not Trump supporters. And apparently, they're not Democrat supporters either, because they keep calling for Ted Wheeler to resign. And Bobby B's got something in the chat. Speaking of Salem, Oregon, I met a dude from Oregon a few months ago and mentioned, I know its state capital was Salem. And he said, no, it's not. It's Portland.
Oh, God, help me. Oh, for fuck's sake. Technical difficulties.
Bobby, you triggered Mad Dodge. But no, it is true that a lot of these people who go there, they're not going there because they really support the BLM cause or because they want to do away with police brutality or protest systemic racism or whatever it is they're protesting this day of the week. And they're just going there because, like MC said, they're bored. They have nothing else to do. They've probably been laid off if they had a job to begin with in the first place. And they see a bunch of people hanging out in the middle of the street, like playing bongos and like going to food carts and getting free food, like free ribs and shit that's getting handed out. Like, shit, if I had nothing to do and I saw a street festival going on that I knew wasn't politically motivated, I'd probably do the same damn thing.
Yeah, and Bobby B, yes, the capital of Oregon is Salem, which you already knew. I mean, yeah. But the thing is, of course they thought it was Portland. I hate that. And that is the very root of the goddamn problem that is Oregon politics. It all revolves around Portland. Who gives a fuck about Portland? Nobody. Not even the people that live in Portland.
Well, clearly not, because only half of the people burning it down come from out of state. The other half actually live there. Well, in some way, shape, or form, I should say. I guess if you can call being homeless living, but...
Batman says, the people running the show for Antifa and Black Lives Matter have dehumanized their opponents, everyone else, so much that, in their eyes, any action is justified. Well,
he's got a point.
I do agree. I will say, though, I do not believe any action is justifiable. Okay? But I will say this. If a group of you assholes show up and try and come into my house and hurt my family for the simple fact of our skin tone, I will not feel bad as I empty my magazine into you. And if you overtake me, you overtake me. That's fine. There's one of me, and I took at least 7 of you out. It is what it is.
Well, I was going to give you pushback on no action is justified. Self-defense is justified. That's the one caveat. Self-defense is justified. But as I was saying earlier, in these people's minds and the fantasy they've created for themselves, nothing they can do is bad. Nothing they can do no wrong. They have been absolved by the Pope of social justice, whatever that thing might be. I don't know, but in their minds, they're fighting against the man. They're fighting for the little guy. They're fighting for themselves. They're fighting for a better future. They're fighting against tyranny and fascism and whatever else doesn't fall in line with their very narrow worldview. And so to them, that's why they'll see. Were you allowed to say Kyle's name? Or is that still okay on YouTube? I know you can on Facebook, even if you're the kid's own damn mom. But different topic. But they'll look at Kyle and be like, "Oh my God, he's some violent criminal murderer." Don't ignore the fact that he very, very possibly got shot at first, since according to the New York Times, there is 27 shots fired. I know Kyle didn't shoot that many. Let's ignore the fact that he was requested by a business owner, business that he worked at, the car dealership, who also owned 2 mechanic shops, to actually defend the business because it had been vandalized the night before. Let's ignore the fact that he retreated from the mob, the actual agitators in the situation, not once, but twice, and then got assaulted. And then people lost their lives. But no, he's the bad guy. But then look at Ryan Hole, or whatever the hell his last name is, and this guy says, "Oh, I don't think I targeted anybody innocent." Bro, we can see the video. We can hear the skateboard dude call out, "Oh, yep, we got one over there, got a Trump supporter." And you approach the guy, and guy, feeling threatened, reaches for something. We don't know exactly what it was, but he reaches for something. We can't even really see because he didn't get the chance before you pulled out your weapon and shot him. You're the agitator. That's murder, not self-defense.
Well, no, and I saw a post on Facebook today. This person said, and I quote, "If your idea of American hero is a 17-year-old murderer, you need to reevaluate your life." End quote. What do you think of that statement?
Oh, what do I think of that? Not only is it demonstrably false, but it highlights the type of upside down worldview that these people have, where whether something is right or wrong, self-defense or murder, is not predicated on the circumstances leading up to the actions being taken, but who is the person taking the actions and what is their ideological leanings. That's how they determine, or that's the lens they use to determine right from wrong in every instance. It has nothing to do with whether or not the action was justifiable. It has everything to do if the action was carried out and committed by someone who they're ideologically in line with or they're ideologically opposed to. That is, theologically, that is their judge, jury, and executioner. That is what determines their outlook on the world as far as guilt. And it's not just self-defense that this applies to. This applies to everything from racism, toxic masculinity, murder, self-defense, like whatever way you want to look at it. That's the reason they can allow themselves to be so incredibly racist, so incredibly sexist, so incredibly everything they claim to be against, because in their minds, it's not the actual underlying concept that determines right from wrong, but it's the ideological dogma of the concept that determines right from wrong. There's a big difference. That's my rant, Dodge.
Yeah, I was just typing in the chat there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, no, I tend to agree with you. And the thing is, too, in the chat, Bobby B says he was talking to Batman. It is troubling how long we have allowed Marxists to indoctrinate kids through our schools. We are paying them to be taught to be racist towards us if you're a white male. I would add, if you are a well, fine, fuck it, anti-abortion woman, or a woman who believes in monogamy and marriage, also, especially if you're white. But there's a reason you see a jump of a lot of Hispanic voters into the Trump campaign. Why? Because they tend to be socially conservative, believe it or not. They do.
Oh yeah, dude. Have you ever? I don't know about you, but anybody who's lived in Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, anywhere in Texas, pretty much, it's very obvious. I mean, even here on the in the DC area, we have a lot of Hispanics, and there's one thing you'll always notice. It might be just a mother and a father. Maybe there's an aunt and an uncle that live there. Maybe a cousin or something, and they'll have like 4 or 5 kids. But they are very, very strong when it comes to family values and family ties. A lot of them are still very Catholic. Like, you
Yeah.
want to talk about the nuclear family, dude, and it's Mexicans specifically. They take the white picket fence American idea of the nuclear family and they dial that shit up to 100. They're like Southern black families, dude. When they have a family get together, no, dude, it's not just like your cousin and maybe your brother or your uncle that show up. No, dude, it's like your cousin's uncle's brother's third cousin. Like their family gatherings are like 20, 30 people. Like they're still very much ingrained in that nuclear family. Family takes care of everyone regardless. And which is why, despite popular belief, you'll see a lot of old school Southern black people and a lot of actual Mexicans are very much against that Marxist idea of the nuclear family is unnecessary. Sex or having a child outside of wedlock is completely acceptable. They're very much against abortion. Actually, they're almost like the Irish Catholics in that sense, and they hate the idea of the state having uh, more claim to your child than the actual mother or father do. They cannot stand that.
Yeah, exactly. And even first generation immigrants go out of their way to learn English. They really do. Like, let's be honest about this. And I'm not talking about illegals, the drug runners, the people traffickers. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about legal immigrants from
Oh yeah,
Mexico.
we're talking about people who have families who actually want to uproot their family from their country of origin and go live in the United States because, to be honest, we provide better opportunities. We're a more prosperous country. We're richer. We have better healthcare. We have better everything than Mexico does. Not trying to say anything bad about Mexicans. Not saying that. I've been to Mexico a few times. It's got its own issues. Don't get me wrong. And even then, they still have a lot of national pride too. And I don't hear a single person on the right knocking Mexican immigrants, legal Mexican immigrants who move their family over here, you know, doing what the left says we do, like, oh, deport them all, get rid of them. Like, no, dude, we welcome them with open arms. It's the exact fucking opposite.
Yeah, and I would say, as Judge Andrew Napolitano would say, a majority of them aren't your current Catholic Church, right? They're pre-Vatican II, so they are anti-abortion. They believe in, well, honestly, no contraceptive, because I mean, look at the size of their families; they're practically Irish, and I'm Irish. And how many kids do I have? Come on now. I was raised Catholic also, so come on. One of us.
Good Lord. But yeah, that's the thing. And it reminds me of a video. I think it was Millennial Miley. She's the one that released that documentary just recently that got arrested or some shit over a family dispute. And everybody thought it was her, people trying to silence her documentary. Dark Shadows, I think was the name of it. If I'm correct or incorrect in the chat, someone let me know. But she had a black guy with her that she was interviewing. He was kind of on the fence about Trump, and it was outside a Trump rally. And he's like, I don't know if these people are going to like me. And she's like, let's find out. No, dude, there was not a single person there that criticized this guy over the color of his skin. Not one. In fact, it was the exact opposite. They were like, no, welcome, brother. You're cool here. Like, we'll accept you with open arms. Yeah, yada, yada, yada. And then she's like, okay, well, let's see what the other side thinks. And they're over there just calling this woman like a whore, a Nazi, a racist. They're calling him a token black guy and a coon, like just all like some of the most vitriolic, hateful shit you could possibly say without getting censored on YouTube because or having to censor it out of the video because it's up on YouTube, I believe. And at the very end, you see this guy just pause Like, he's kind of stunned. Like, you can see the look in his eye. He's like got the deer in the headlight looks. And then he just looks down at the ground and just kind of sulks. Like, you could tell he's just utterly defeated, just at how disgusting and hateful and vitriolic these people are. And it's like that. And it's not just this one video. You can find dozens, if not hundreds, of examples showing the exact same thing. It's not an exclusive thing to just one instance, and it's this level of hatred is almost exclusive to the left, and with the very rare exception of you find someone who is an actual alt-right neo-Nazi skinhead, and again, that's rare exception. I mean, we were talking about Richard Spencer earlier. Even Richard Spencer was like, no, I don't hate black people, I just don't want to be around them. Like, even he's not as hateful as some of these assholes, which should tell you something. Your average, diehard vote blue, no matter who Democrat is likely going to be more hateful than Richard fucking Spencer. What does that tell you?
Well, yeah, I mean, look at people like Mr. King, right? Sean.
Oh yeah, the fake black guy, Sean King.
Even Don Lemon, in my opinion. But I do want to address the freighter. She said the Spaniards brought the religion of Catholicism to South America. You are absolutely correct. What I was referring to was the similarities between Irish Catholics culturally with social issues and the Catholic Mexican immigrants as well. Because that really is where the other part of Catholicism has started to lax off of abortion and not care. That's where the anti-abortion issue is still very prevalent. Abortion is murder, right? And to refer back to the beginning of the show, the song we broke down, bacteria on Mars is considered life, but a heartbeat on Earth, but not a heartbeat on Earth. I didn't say it exactly correct, but you get my point. We have a double standard here. And if you give one proportion, women, the right to terminate their pregnancy, but you do not give men the right to terminate their financial burden, isn't that inequality at its core? And also, didn't we arrest people for doing illegal abortions? That was considered murder, but Planned Parenthood could harvest baby parts. I mean, there's a lot of double standards going on. And that's kind of the mantra of the left in general is do what we say, not what we do, right?
Yeah, it is. It has very much become a that's even calling it a double standard at this point is a bit of an understatement. It is the dogma, at least the justification for their dogma, and then the actions they take in accordance thereof is very much grounded in rules for thee, not for me, do as I say, not as I do. And they do treat people and it comes from that checkbox lockstep mentality that they have on the left. It's the hive mind, where as long as you're acting in accordance with the group, then no matter what you do is still somehow justifiable, even if it goes directly against what you claim to be one of the core tenets of your dogma, i.e., respect all women, unless she's a pro-Trump, anti-abortion, white suburban soccer mom. Then you could say whatever you want about her, and it's completely perfectly fine and acceptable. I mean, again, back to the video I was talking about, Millennial Miley. Look at how they treat her. Look at some of the stuff they say about Kylie McKinney, the Trump's current press secretary, or what's her name? The chick who just won.
No, let's cut right down to it. Okay, the Obama children were off the table, but they make fun of Barron all the fucking time. Oh, look how tall he is. He's like the Jolly Green Giant. Shut the fuck up. Trump's like, what, 6'4" or some bullshit? Like, what do you expect? You expect him to be a fucking midget? What the hell?
No, yeah, again, it's that whole thing of like protected class. They might say it's about like what your sex is, or what gender you identify as, or what your skin color is, or what your religion is, or what nationality you are. They might say that was what makes you a protected class, and that's a blatant fucking lie. You just got to look at their actions. Actions speak louder than words. You want to know what somebody really thinks? Look at how they treat others, not what they say, but how they treat people. Really, the only kind of protected class in their mind is if you're ideologically on the left. And when I say the left, I don't mean Democrats or liberals. I mean they're at this point in time, you're
Karl
either social, yeah, you're either socialist light, or you're old guard Democrat that's going to vote blue no matter who. Which, yeah, they're just kind of all over the place. They don't really care how far the overt window shifts or in what direction. They'll always support it. Or then you have, the radical Marxist left, anarchists left, all that shit. So unless you're one of those things, then you're not a protected class regardless, and you'll be treated like the scum of the earth, or deplorable, as they say.
Well, no, and I would like to know where the Reagan Democrats are. Are you guys still around? Bueller. Is this thing on? I mean, where are you? What happened? Like, what happened to the Democrats that worked at the factory in Detroit? Yeah, they were a union, man, but they still wanted fiscal responsibility from their government. What happened? Where you at? No?
There's no place for them on the in the modern left anymore, because it has shifted so far. Like the stuff they support, there's no union worker out there, at least, except maybe with like very rare exception, things like the teachers union or something like that. There's no union worker who's in the energy sector or the auto sector, or working in the steel industry, that's gonna support higher taxes like Biden does on families making $75,000 a year, or even $50,000 a year. They won't support taxes in any way, shape, or form. They already get their benefits that they have from the union, and especially if they're a government workers union. They've been pushed out of the party. They no longer have a place there, because they still want to keep their job. They still want to keep the industry alive, because their job is contingent upon it. They still harker back to the age of where accepting government handouts like food stamps or unemployment was still looked down upon in society. It was still considered a mark on you. It was it was shameful. That doesn't exist anymore. Hell, if you don't support government handouts at this point in time, you're considered to be a conservative. That don't pay attention to the fact that they might have been a registered Democrat their entire life, voted for Obama twice, voted for Clinton twice, and still support 50% of what the party still stands for. That's not good enough. Your union Democrats, your blue collar Democrats, you're the Democrats of the 60s and 70s, even they're dwindling down and starting to move further to the side of moderate center.
Well, no, and let's go from third to fourth here, and let's throw some shade at the other side. Hey, evangelicals, where you been? I haven't heard nothing but crickets out of them, out of the Bible Belt, for what, 2 election cycles? They didn't do shit about Obama, did they? I mean, what, you had Huckabee in 2012, right? He didn't get that much support. I mean, you had Huckabee, and then you had the senator from South Carolina, not Graham. What the fuck was his name? Santoro?
Yes, Benny Santoro, I think.
Yeah, you had him. He was going after the evangelicals, but I mean, where are you at? And I'm sorry, Utah. I hate to break it to you, but Mormons don't count. Sorry. All right, you're your own thing. I've read the Book of Mormon, and y'all are a cult. Just saying, it's cool. It's cool. I ain't worried about it. And you're damn good at family trees. All right. Like I might pay for that shit. Like fucking, they will, dude. You ever want your family tree done to like the fucking 1300s? Hit up the Mormons, dude. I don't know. It's some magic Mormon power, but they got that shit down.
Oh man, it's like you're starting out like a fucking game of Skyrim or Oblivion or some shit. Like choose your sect, choose your race, choose your sign. Like, oh, okay, what powers do I get? I want to go with Mormon. Family trees. Okay.
Genealogy. Got this shit. You know? It's kind of like, hey, you choose Catholic. Yeah, you have a giant family. All right, cool. What's the Jewish power? Unlimited gold. I'm sorry, I had to.
It's low hanging fruit, but it's appropriate. You're good with finances.
Yeah.
You're good with weights and measurements.
Oh my God, the Ventru in Vampire the Masquerade are vampire Jews, aren't they?
Yeah, they kind of are. It's not an unfair statement.
I digress. But no, seriously, where is the evangelical base? You still have the Rust Belt. That's still there. Okay? That's what won Trump the election, and that's what's going to win him the re-election is the Rust Belt. But the Bible Belt, the southern states, yeah, they went with Trump, but it wasn't the evangelical vote. It was the poor white vote.
Well, I think a lot of the evangelicals are still Trump supporters, simply because he keeps railing against Planned Parenthood. I mean, hell, one of his talking points is like today or yesterday is saying if he gets reelected, he's going to defund Planned Parenthood, just nix all federal funding from them, which I don't know, I've been saying they should do that to begin with. I don't care if you want to go get an abortion, but I'm sure as hell not paying taxes so you can do it. Again, it goes back to that thing of stop rewarding irresponsible behavior. Hey, you're asking to go pay for it, not me.
Mitch says, and this is his opinion, YouTube. Mitch the Ripper, I see many Bible thumpers using the leftist violence to push their own agenda, which is coming off as just another kind of social credit system. Thoughts on that? Because that's interesting. I'm going to have to take a minute and actually ponder that.
Yeah, in a way, you have a point there. It is kind of I guess social credit system is the right way to put it. They are mirroring, or not mirroring. They're using the actions of the left, especially the radical left, to springboard their own religious radical talking points. And let's call it what it is. It is more considered a religious radical talking point. There's still plenty of people who are Christians who aren't necessarily like diehard pro-choice, abolish Planned Parenthood, make abortion illegal with with jail time on it. It does have the hallmarks of a social credit system. I don't know if I would compare it to, say, China. I don't think it's quite gone that far, but yeah, no, he's got a point. I can't really think of a decent rebuttal for that. Which apparently, also, side note, I guess the evangelicals are big Q supporters now. I don't know. I saw an article in passing that QAnon is the evangelical hero. He's their God Emperor.
I haven't looked into the whole QAnon thing, so I have no weird conspiracy theories on that. I don't know. I have noticed though, and we're starting to wind down the show. We've hit the 2-hour mark, but I still got a little bit of time in me. So as long as you're good to go, Doku, we'll continue. Maybe we'll hit that 3-hour mark tonight. We did yesterday. But
actually, yeah, I've got some steam left and a few beers, so I'm more than willing to try to go for the 3-hour mark. And I do follow Q, so if you want to jump on that after we tackle this topic, I can tell you.
Okay, well, I do want to know a little bit more about Q, and we'll get into that fairly quickly. But you notice who has disappeared from the scene? Anonymous.
Actually, I did see Anonymous, at least one of their larger Twitter accounts, because Anonymous is more decentralized than Antifa is. That's basically just an entire group of people that are acting of their own accord, however they see fit. But I've seen quite a few anonymous accounts that are hardcore anti-Trumpers. Yeah, he's treasonous, and we're gonna hack this and that and put it all on blast. Like, we're basically gonna pull a WikiLeaks on you. I haven't seen them do anything because if the DOJ couldn't find it through all their special investigations while Schiff was doing his fucking little backdoor games, then good luck, Anonymous. I don't think you're gonna have any luck either.
Bobby says Anonymous has gone woke last he heard him. That would be a shame, because Anonymous at the beginning, I followed it from the very beginning, and they were pretty libertarian, honestly.
Well, keep in mind, a lot of people within the Anonymous movement were they've always been very anti-big government. That's always been a thing. So when Obama was in office, when Bush was in office, like that stance for them has not changed. It's just now that Trump is in office, and they have sided themselves with the natural enemy of the Dawn, which is the woke crowd. That's the other side of the coin. And the other thing you have to remember, these Anonymous was always big supporters of like the Occupy movements, and the Occupy movements have direct ties to the same organizational groups that are supporting Students for Democratic Society, It's Going Down, By Any Means Necessary, Antifa, and now also BLM. So they've always kind of had their hands in the more left-leaning anarcho-libertarian side of things. So they tend to lean more left, but they have, as the window has shifted, they have become more and more woke.
Interesting, because what I noticed at the onset of the Anonymous movement was really they were going after Bush, and they were leaking stuff about him. And I wasn't a big fan of George W. And they did some good work there. And then they did the same to Obama. They haven't really released any info on Trump. And I have a personal theory. I don't think there is any. I think
I don't think so either.
Something wrong, he would have been ratted out right when he did it. Like right then, yeah, Mr. President, I'll make sure you're firing these people. Why? Because she wouldn't fuck you? Okay, I'll go and fire her. On the way out, yeah, CNN, get me Don Lemon. Right?
Yeah, if there was anything like that, we definitely would have heard about it, because not only has the guy been put under, it's not even put through a fine-tooth comb or put under a magnifying glass. The dude has been scrutinized for every aspect of his life, and he's been put on under a freaking electron microscope. If there is even a speck of dirt on the guy, which there is in certain ways, but nothing to the point of like what you see from like Bush or Obama or Clinton. I don't think it exists. I really don't. What's the best thing they could come up with? Stormy Daniels? A random statement he made in passing, which wasn't even an admission that he did anything. Look at the actual quote, the whole grab them quote. He says, the part they like to leave out, says, oh yeah, when you're rich, they'll let you do anything. You can walk up, grab him by the pussy. Yeah, do whatever. He's not saying he ever did it, but they framed it as that way. But even that never stuck, because we all saw the fucking video. And so no, I think if there is anything significant or anything wrong that Trump did, he's surrounded by Obama holdovers and appointed government workers who are very much still a part of the established government, as people would call the deep state. Which, if you really want to know what the deep state is, it's the intelligence community and the contractor community. And they're not elected officials; they're appointed officials. That's what they mean. But no, he's been surrounded by those people the entire time in office, and even before he was elected and then inaugurated. If there was dirt, we'd have heard about it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And this is just a thought, all right? But you know what I would like to see? The 5th of November. Thousands of conservatives come out with Guy Fawkes masks, the whole get up, and they just march into these cities like Chicago and Portland. And they just stand there and wait for the leftists to do something, to throw a brick, to do anything. And then they move the cloak, reveal their firearm, and just, I'll leave it there.
And things go the way they're going, especially if Don wins. Hey, you might need to get some extra popcorn.
But I mean, this idea of one group of people dictating to me, not only that I'm evil and I have this natural sin upon me, even though I was baptized and I'm taking communion, I thought that wiped away the sin. But I guess it didn't wipe away the whiteness, so I'm fucked, right? But not only are you saying I have this sin that comes from my forefathers, especially, you live in Virginia. I'm from Shreveport, Louisiana. I mean, we are the people they're talking about. You know what I mean? So we have this original sin. But not only that, but they're saying I can't raise my children the way I want to. They're saying if my 8-year-old daughter decides she doesn't want to be Sammy, she wants to be Sam, as in a guy, they're fine with it. They're not only are they fine with it, but just like handing contraception off to your teenage daughter, I bet you in 5 years they'll be fine with it without your consent.
That's already happening. Hey, Texas. Look no further than Texas. Which still, I have no idea how the people of Texas have not, had an absolute meltdown more than they already have over the ruling with that one mom trying to turn her son into a girl, and the state actually siding with her, even though there's enough objective evidence to at least suggest that this boy actually does not, in fact, want to be, nor does he identify as female. But she's the guardian, and the state sides with her, and told the dad to go pound sand, as MC would say.
Yeah, it's insane, because if you look at the suicide rates amongst this demographic of people, we've discussed it before, it is significantly higher than for any other group of people. And it is the lowest denominator. Like, we're talking about 0.4% of the American population identifies as transitioning or trans, or they have gender dysphoria. This isn't something that is just everywhere, but it is now. Why? Because of the media spotlight. They're making it normal. They're making it okay. So gay guys are like, wait a minute, I'm not gay, I'm really a woman. And then they off themselves because the hormones fuck them up, right? I mean, the shit is ridiculous. It's insanity. It's like Animal Farm. 4 legs good, 2 legs better.
Well, and since you brought up Anonymous, isn't it ironic that the group of individuals who were, rock against this and, counterculture, middle fingers to the establishment, fuck the man, anarchy, fuck the establishment, those groups of people are now the ones who are supporting the old guard establishment because the anti-establishment billionaire lifelong Democrat recently turned Republican from New York won the election. The guy who wants to drain the swamp and who wants to not be the establishment candidate, who wants to secure the borders and recall our troops, pull the troops back from overseas, try to cut government spending, try to give people more freedoms, try to lower your taxes, lower taxes for everyone. He's the one they're railing against. Hey, you should have at least some 50-50 support for him just for being the non-establishment candidate, but yet you're supporting the lifelong career politician, old guard establishment candidates against that? Hypocrite.
Well, no, and Batman says most doctors are saying that transgender is a new fashion trend. Yeah, we'll touch upon that in a second. But I just looked at the time. It is 10:30 on the West Coast. Hell, Batman, are you up drinking coffee, getting ready for work, or what? Or wait a minute, you're on the Charlie Sheen diet, right? Right? little nose candy. No.
Cocaine and hookers. A breakfast of champions.
But what do you think about that? Because that's kind of what I was saying. Transgender is the new fashion trend. Like, remember last night me and you were talking about when I was in high school and shit. One of the guys that I was hanging out with and I brought up, Justin, he is now considering himself a she and is transitioning. I say that in quotes because I doubt the dude's going to chop his dick and balls off because that's just retarded. I would hope he's not that retarded. But this guy loved women more than any of us. Like, he had a different fucking girl at his house fucking every other day and shit in high school and in his early 20s. Like, what the fuck happened to him?
Well, I do believe that there is an element to this, more often than not, I would say, of what's the term that everybody was using? Trans-trender, I think it was. But you have to remember, not only if you're within certain certain social circles. There we go. I can English again. Not only when you're getting peer pressure, if you're surrounded in a certain circle, fuck it, I give up. But being a part of this marginalized, or more accurately, protected class of people, with those protections comes a certain amount of, dare I say, privileges. So for a lot of people that are considered maybe social outcast, or fall outside of the norm, or are socially awkward, who are kind of looking for just somewhere to fit in, for somewhere to belong, it is an attractive prospect. So you do have to take that into account.
What, for social, for special privileges socially?
Special privileges are part of it. Like, again, you're a protected class. So I would actually argue you could replace the word protected and privileged, and it would mean pretty much the same thing in practice. But more so, it's on a deeper sociological level. As human beings, we are social creatures. Take any pack animal and isolate them and make them isolate them from the pack, make them live a life shunned or not belonged or ostracized, and watch the effects it has on their health. It's not that they become violent, angry, and lash out. It's a lot deeper than that. There's an actual physical effect. Like, they will actually stop eating. They'll get depressed. Human beings, will turn to drugs or alcohol, and in a lot of instances, they'll actually just die because they'd rather die than actually continue to live, in this, depressed, ever-living hell. And then in that sense, I actually do kind of pity a lot of these people, because it has to be a really shitty existence. Like, I'll actually be compassionate for once. It's rare. Don't expect this to happen often. But imagine feeling so cast out, so looked down upon, so unhappy with yourself, simply because of how you fit into society and how society looks at you and treats you, that you will actually go to the extent, whether you really have gender dysphoria or not, you will still do that simply so you can be accepted by a community, so that you can relate to people who might be feeling the same way, even if it means going through an irreversible surgery and going through hormone treatment. And there's a reason that the suicide rate amongst these groups is so high. I don't think it's inherently just the hormones, but it's the fact that these people were already depressed, already ostracized, already suicidal to begin with, and they're just looking for something to try to actually make them better. They're putting a Band-Aid on a bullet that broke the bone, and they don't have a tourniquet, let alone a combat triage surgeon. I think that's really the core of the issue as to why you see a lot of not only this violent lashing out, but also this high degree of uh, detached, emotionally detached, and also just overly emotional, irrational, illogical actions. And again, ridiculous rates of depression and suicide, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and a lot of instances, spousal abuse is something that never really gets brought up as much as it should. I do think there is a deeper rooted problem in the human psyche that is causing these people to act in the way that they do. And again, like any other drug addict, they're also easily taken advantage of and easily manipulated emotionally to act as the proverbial useful idiots for the more put together radical. But
Well, let me pose a theory here, and
Mhm.
follow me for a second. All right, so at least in the case of the one or two people I know, because it's fucking Oregon, of course, that are trans that I've met in real life. Both of them seemed normal when they were dudes, and then I found out later that they were transitioning and they want to be called this instead of this, and then they got really weird. But a lot of times, it happens through pressure from their significant other. And I think that pressure comes from society itself because they're in the liberal environment that normalizes it, right? But then as the dude transitions, they end up leaving. They end up finding a real man again because they didn't want a girl. If they wanted a girl, they would have been with a girl. They want a real man. It's just society itself right now is telling them that they should be totally open to this, and so should their significant other. And then somehow, obviously, the person's weak-willed to begin with to even go along with this. Because I love my wife, but divorce would happen if she was like, "I think you should be Christina." I'd be like, "Yeah, and I think you should sign right here on this document."
No, you have a point there, and you'll notice in a lot of these relationships, like there's the reason I brought up spousal abuse, but no, in a lot of these in a lot of the instances that we're referring to with this particular topic of conversation, you have to realize these people are vulnerable to begin with, and vulnerable people easily attract those who would seek to manipulate you. And those are the two sides of the coin. You know, the manipulator will come off as, you know, strong, confident, yeah, in control, have their head on right, and you know the weaker willed person, the more vulnerable person, they're attracted to that type of strength, that type of confidence, because not only does it give them a sense of security and acceptance and belonging, but they also that individual they're drawn to, that they're attracted to, exhibits traits that they're envious of, that they wish they had. So you want to talk about a toxic relationship? There you go. I mean, that's a
Well,
match made in hell.
yeah, but that's kind of okay. So women like men because they feel safe and secure in their presence. They have an innate need to be safe, secure, and have a good environment for bearing children. This is ingrained within us because we're fucking mammals.
And
And
also keep in mind,
do.
keep in mind though that, you know, strong-willed women or confident women aren't attracted to weak men. And by weak, I don't mean like, oh, you look like a little soy boy hipster, but they're attracted to someone who they think is going to provide for them, or is going to, you know, provide some sense of stability at least. Like when I say provide, I don't necessarily mean fiscally. You know, I mean, at first you have your gold diggers out there, but not for provide financially. It also doesn't mean, you know, you're attracted to, you know, the biggest meathead, you know, juicer Jersey Shore looking moron in the fucking world either.
No, and that's what I was going to carry on with is, and it's not necessarily even the best looking guy in the room. All right. It's the guy that has the balls to actually walk up and go, "Hey, you want to dance?" It doesn't really matter what you look like as long as you have confidence in yourself and you exude the confidence and you try and control the room. Even if you fail, at least you tried. That shows you have a little testicular fortitude, right?
Well, I wouldn't even say control the room. It's just having enough confidence in yourself to be yourself, and also not have to be reliant upon others to find a sense of self-worth. I mean, you could be the geekiest looking guy in the freaking world, but still manage to land, a 10 out of 10 superstar wife, not because you're necessarily rich, not because you're overbearing or, you're that type of person, not because you're the strongest person in the world, but it's a culmination of confidence in oneself and the ability to kind of just be who you are and not fucking apologize for it. There's a reason you see a difference between both men and women on the left and men and women on the right. I don't know the best way to put it, but it's because we're more on the right and in the middle. We tend to be a little bit more comfortable being ourselves. We don't want to fall in line, not because we're railing against the norm or we don't want to be the establishment or anything like that. It's just, no, I'm not going to let anybody tell me like how I should be or how I have to fit into society. Like, no, I'm going to find where I fit into society and I'm going to do what I do and I'm going to do the best damn job I can at it because I'm not going to change myself simply to appease somebody else. You find that more on the right than you do on the left.
And if you look at commentators from both the left and the right, I mean, what do you have on the left? Pops in my head, Anna Kasparian, or whatever the fuck her name is.
Oh, Anna Kasparian, the Young Turks chick.
Yeah. And then, fucking, the fat motherfucker.
That's Cenk Uygur. Although right. I would argue Cenk Uygur is a little bit different because he actually does have that kind of, granted, very brazen, very obnoxious confidence, but he's not the same. He's not your average person on the left, if you ask me. Like, he's still manipulative. He's still a panderer, but he does exude a lot of confidence, and that's why I think women on the left tend to find him attractive. I don't know why, but I would guess that's the reason.
Well, no, and he used to have more conservative views, actually. Like, he got in trouble when he was running because he had said some comments about women that were honestly probably factually true. But, they hurt the fifis, so he got yelled at by his own base for it, which is part of the reason why he lost his election. But I'm just saying, that's their poster boys, right? And then Don Lemon and who's the dude that does the Daily Show now? I don't even fucking care.
Oh, Trevor Noah, I think.
Yeah, that douchebag. And then who do we have? Okay, Crowder. He's a commentator. We have Tucker Carlson.
Yeah, we got Crowder. We got Tucker. We got Mark Dice. Wait.
And then let's look at the women and do a comparison. Because even though I don't really like Tomi Lahren right now, she's hot. We have her. We have Laura Southern. We have her. We have Romy Millennial. She's on our side. I mean, the list goes on. And they're all attractive and intelligent women. Name me some from the left.
I know there's got to be at least a couple.
Yeah, but you see the problem here already?
Yeah, I had to actually stop and think. I mean, hell, Lauren Southern, whether you agree with her or not, I think she's a bit obnoxious, but Caitlin Bennett, Millennial Miley, Trump's press secretary, dude, McKinney or McEnany, I forget exactly how to properly pronounce her last name, but dude, she is a fucking fireball. Dana Lorraine, again, I can, Candace Owens, hell, fuck, throw Candace Owens in there.
Yeah, and Kat, she's over on Fox Business, and she's a libertarian chick, and I'm digging those glasses. I'm just saying.
Oh no! So look at the one chick who did the ad for Baltimore.
You saw that ad? That ad was fucking gold, man.
Oh, dude, it was. I saw that. I was like, wow. Yeah, whoever came up with that ad idea, like, bro, they would have a good long career in politics because that is perfect. It's not abrasive. It's not obnoxious. It's not attacking your opponent. It's not gut punches. It's just straight up, boom, here you go, and it's done in such a perfect way. She doesn't have to say anything. She doesn't have to go on the offensive.
Yeah. And what's up, Brian? Brian, the observer's in the chat, and he says Dana Lausch. Yeah.
Yeah, Dana Lausch.
What's her name? Burnett was on Fox News. She shows up every now and then, still on the 5, but she pretty much left Fox News because she's married to Trump's son, right? What's her name?
Oh, I know who you're talking about too. Her name escapes me at the moment, but yeah, hell, dude, just look at Trump's wife.
Yeah. I mean, the comparison is stark. You know what I mean? There's not really a comparison at all. And the ideas coming out, okay, the right, they will listen to the libertarians. Okay? They will sit there and call us fucking retards. That's fine, because we call them warmongers. It's cool. We have an understanding. But the left won't even let us talk. They're like, kill that white Republican, libertarian, straight fucking scum male. Wait, what? You want to throw in NASCAR fan too? I mean, what the fuck?
I mean, hell, just look at what the left is even saying now, just about liberals. Hey, they're not even using the term liberal anymore. It's almost become a slur to them at this point, which I find absolutely hilarious. Look, for example, I hate using it because it's low-hanging fruit, but look at Sargon of Akkad. Sargon of Akkad is not a conservative at all. But they think he's like some far-right fucking radical extremist. It's like, no, he's not, dude.
No, he's not. He just works at Applebee's. Sorry, I had to take that joke out.
If you weren't going to do it, I was debating doing it. So I'm glad you took it and I didn't have to.
Yeah, I stole that joke back for 2019. Sorry, guys. You remember? You remember?
No, yeah, there is a stark difference between, not just in the way people look, because I know this is an old school cliched thing to say, but the way you present yourself to the world is a reflection of how you feel about yourself on the inside and like what type of personality you have. And I'm not saying you need to be, clean shaven, always walk with your back straight. Like they're, I mean, shit, look at Styx Hexenhammer. Most people would look at him and be like, oh, he's a dirty fucking hippie. Then you listen to the guy talk.
Yeah, no, and like Razor Fist, like, who is this Bret Hart knockoff? And then he talks, right? I mean, and even me, like, you have fucking Farty calling me, a Keemstar wannabe. Even though I don't really talk about YouTube news, I talk about politics. But whatever, it's all right. I mean, I think the real issue is one side is willing to argue ideas, and the other side wants to throw all people with contrary ideas in jail, or just silence them and pretend we don't exist.
Yeah, I think silencing us and pretending we don't exist is the very, 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 very generous touch they would take. We've already seen some of the stuff they've said, and we've already seen how they act. I know a bunch of people will say, like, oh, Project Veritas is bullshit. Da, 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 da. You say what you want about Project Veritas. Fact of the matter is, there is video of 2 Bernie campaign supporters, and we know they're campaign supporters, verified it. Believe it or not, it's true. If you don't want to believe it, that's a personal problem. Saying that if Bernie didn't win the nomination, they're going to burn shit down. They're also the same people saying they want to throw all Trump supporters in re-education camps. Well, Bernie lost the nomination, and Biden won it. Remember that cringy video of that one chick going, please don't make me vote for Joe Biden? Well, look at what's happening now. Coincidence? I don't know. You tell me. Because even when the Ferguson riot happened, it didn't last nearly as long. It didn't do nearly as much damage. And it also didn't happen in an election year. So what's different? What changed? Because I guarantee you, I'd be willing to bet money on it, that a lot of these people out there that are burning down these cities right now aren't exactly fans of Biden. I think if you took away any type of compensation they were getting, they probably wouldn't be rioting at all. You might have some isolated riots here and there, but it wouldn't be, 90 days straight in the Rose City.
Yeah, no, and you guys, I know a lot of shade's been thrown at Portland, even by me, and definitely by my panelists and other shows I've been a guest of. Yeah, Portland has its issues. But guys, it's one of the oldest cities on the West Coast. There's underground tunnels there where they used to kidnap people and ship them off to China to work on the Navy, on the boats, the trade boats. There's history in Portland. And if these guys keep burning down Rose City, there's not going to be any history left. Sooner or later, they're going to burn one of these buildings with access to the tunnels, and it's going to be gone forever. And then another one. And then another one. I mean, the city already blocked off a lot of the access tunnels that are out in alleys and stuff like that. There is tours, so certain establishments have access down there. And some businesses still use their end of the tunnel as like dry storage, like they did in the old days. But I mean, there's a lot of history in Portland that is just going to go away if we let these pieces of shit burn down our fucking city. It's kind of like the South. They want to rip down the statues. They want to sandblast Robert E. Lee off the mountain. They want to tear down the Washington Monument. What is wrong with you people? You do realize if you don't know your history, you're destined to repeat it.
Well, that's the thing. Just to add some contrast, for all of the historical monuments that have been destroyed by the radical left, the Marxist left, I think I saw one article once of the statue of Karl Marx in Seattle being vandalized, and it was it was basically spray paint. I haven't seen anybody destroy that thing yet. To kind of show you the difference between the side A and side B.
Well, no, and no one cares about Portland, says Penoid. Mitch Ripper says, sounds like Portlanders need to learn how to vote. That is if they are ever allowed to do so again. Oregon has been vote by mail for 20 years. They will vote, and they will vote the same idiots in office they always do. Because Oregon is blue because of Eugene and Portland and Salem. That's 3 cities out of a gigantic state that runs everything. Anybody else see a problem with that?
Oh, and also back on my point, because I remember the example I was going to use. Do you think these rioters are actually Biden supporters? I would tell you not a chance in hell, and this is why. If they were, they wouldn't be lighting fires in the lobby of Ted Wheeler's condominium, or the building that houses his condo. They wouldn't be calling for his resignation. That would not happen. The dude is adamantly, vehemently firing all cylinders, all spotlights on him against Trump. We even saw that frickin' that letter he sent to Trump, telling him we don't need your divisiveness and blah 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 blah. No one cares about what Ted Wheeler has to say. These people want him to resign. Do you think that they're actually for the establishment blue Democrats? Because they're not. They might pretend to be, but they're not. There's just no anarcho. There's no anarchist. There's no anarchist politician. The closest thing they had was Bernie Sanders, supported by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Still, I'm never gonna get over that fucking gaffe where she fucking endorsed him at the DNC. That's fucking hilarious. But those are their poster children candidates. They don't give a damn about Biden.
Well, no, and we got somebody that I don't recognize the name of, Hypa Bumfuzzle, in the chat. Uh, Only because of them. The rest of us are mostly red or independent. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would consider myself independent. I'm going to be voting Trump, but until recently, I was a libertarian. That's still kind of independent, but only because it's third party and we never get elected.
Well, and you guys over in the Libertarian Party are suffering from the same problem that the Union Democrats and the old school business Democrats are suffering from. And when I say business Democrat, I don't mean corporate business Democrats. I mean, you know, I own my own car dealership or my own mom and pop shop or my own liquor store. Like, you know, mom and pop business Democrats. Your party has shifted along with the window looking for a voter base. And I'll be honest, Joe Jorgensen is operating under the guise of opportunism. She knows she's not going to win any Trump supporters. She's probably not going to win that many moderates. The diehard libertarians are going to vote for her because they always vote. They always vote yellow. She's trying to tap into the voter base that walked away from Biden to the further side, to the further left because they wanted Bernie. She's trying to get the vote of the Bernie bros.
Well, no, and it's like I said before, I coined the term leftitarian. Leftitarian. That's what they are. They are leftists pretending to be libertarians. I'm sorry. If you want to have the argument between the Cato Institute and Mises, I'm Mises all the fucking way, all right? I'm studying the Andrew Napolitanos, the Tom Woods, the, wait, I got his book right here. Thomas J. DiLorenzo. Okay? These are the people I'm reading. If you're over there reading Gary Johnson, What is Aleppo? Well, we're not even on the same page. Hell, we ain't even speaking the same language.
And that's the thing. You'll notice the libertarians. They're always against big government. That's kind of the key. That's the seed that the tree grows from. But once you start getting to the branches, you have the hardcore anti-capitalist libertarians, the ones who are getting very much closer to the anarcho-communist side of things. They're just not quite there yet. They're 50-50. And then you have the hardcore anarcho-capitalists who say, fuck the government, taxation is theft, I should be able to be allowed to do whatever the hell I want, including if I want to own a freaking M1 Abrams tank. Well, I should be allowed to, as long as I can pay for it.
Yeah, nuke in every garage. Come on, yeah. That's my campaign slogan. Vote Mad Dodge 2024.
Yeah, see, those are your two extremes. On the one side of the libertarian coin, you'll have the open borders, sovereign citizen. There's no such thing as a sovereign nation. Fuck the government. Full anarchy. They're also very anti-gun. Yeah, I love them. I love this meme. If somebody breaks into your house, you're going to shoot them. Yes. Oh, so you value your property more than human life? No, someone valued my property more than their life. You'll have those types of people, but they're still very much, that's the two sides of the libertarian coin in a nutshell.
Well, no, and really, yeah, I do. No, bear with me here. All right, maybe it's not a widely supported idea, but yeah, I do value my property and my family more than I value your life. You know why? Because if you're willing to come into my door and rob me, then you're probably willing to rape my fucking wife. You're probably willing to burn my fucking house down. I'd rather shoot you before we got to that level.
Well, yeah, and that's why I use that example to kind of frame the two mindsets amongst the Libertarian Party. There are the libertarians who are, it's like, it's my life, it's my property, it's my pursuit of happiness, live and let live. The government can go piss off, and along with everybody else, I'll be friendly with my neighbors, but you're not coming over unless invited. And then you have the other people who are like, oh, but they're human beings too. Borders are inherently, discriminatory and oppressive. You should, these illegal immigrants, as they would call them, or undocumented immigrants, are just looking for a better life. We should go ahead and shelter them in our homes from the government and ICE and all this and that. Like you have the hippy dippy libertarian mindset, and then you have the I would argue the mindset that's more in line with the founding fathers.
Yeah, classical liberalism. And Brian the Observer says, Dodge and Observer 2024. You do realize I am now going to make a t-shirt of that, right? Just so you know.
No, actually, you should make a t-shirt of that. Get as much merch out there as possible. It's passive income.
Yeah, no, exactly. Dodge and Observer 2024. And hey, my Secretary of War will be MC. My Treasury Secretary will be Doku. My Secretary of Pimp Slapping, which is a new office I will be adding after I destroy a few of the offices we don't need. So the official Pimp Slapper will be Pinoid News. We ever need anybody pimp slap? Like, hey, Putin's asking for it, Pinoid. Like, I got this.
Shit, at the rate you're going, you might as well just do the whole cabinet.
Right.
Actually, who's your Secretary of Education? That'll be a fun pick.
Who do I want to fire? Sherardi. Now fire her immediately. But I got my press secretary. You guys, memes. Yeah, have him try and justify everything I do. It will be amazing.
Oh God, you would be worse than Trump. You would literally turn it to a reality TV show. I'm not 100% opposed to this, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah. Oh, Mitch the Ripper, nice. Mad Dodge. The Dodge Observer 2024 sounds like an advertisement for an automobile. Dude, that would be the best Dodge ever. You know, it's got a Hemi in it, right? And we got fucking machine guns up top.
God, you're not going to have a presidential limo. You're just going to have a fucking armored Dodge Charger everywhere on the fucking campaign trail.
Hey, it's a Dodge Observer.
Oh no, see, but you can't use anything made by Daimler Chrysler anymore because they're owned by Mercedes, and that's a foreign company. You gotta buy American Dodge. You're running for the ticket.
All right. So, what else is important? Because I mean, I'm gonna strip half the cabinet and murder that Department of Education. You're out of here. We're gonna scale. We're gonna freeze Social Security. We're gonna pay what we owe, but we're no longer gonna take the tax anymore. And you're responsible for your own retirement, guys. Sorry, it's just the way it's got to be. Got to balance the budget. All right, it's got to go. If it's gonna keep going up and up and up and up and up and up, and you get the point. It's got to go. So we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it day one. Like fuck first term. Day one, I'm like, yeah, okay. The DEA. Why do we need that? Oh, the bus drug dealers. Oh, they're all fired. FBI. Yeah, can you fire everybody and have send MC a memo and have him pick a new FBI department? Yeah, we're not going to audit the Federal Reserve. We're just going to end it. We're going back to the gold standard. You got that right, Doku?
Actually, no. We don't need to go back to the gold standard per se. First off, it would be wildly difficult to do so. And second off, since we do live in fiscally globalist society, because COMEX, exchange rates, those are all a thing now. Now, here's what you do. You just abolish the Fed, and then you let the Treasury and the Mint do what it was meant to do. Right? You don't need the Federal Reserve. As long as the government can balance its budget, you won't run into the same reason that the Federal Reserve was created in the first place, where the government goes broke, so they have to turn to a bunch of people like J.P. Morgan, what the hell is that other guy's name? Oh, damn it. This is going to drive me nuts now.
Well, why you think about that? Brian's asking, can Jesse be UN secretary? Yeah, but we're going to leave the UN. I'm thinking Jesse. Oh, got it.
Space Force.
No, ambassador to Germany. He's just going to go over there and piss them the fuck off. It's going to be great.
Oh, no, it was Carnegie. But no, the reason you got the Fed in the first place and the reason it got backing is because the government was broke and they had to take massive loans from, the wildly successful monopoly men of the fucking late 1800s, early 1900s. And they felt like they shouldn't be singularly beholden to the debt of the U.S. government because irresponsible spending. So,
yeah, no, and I follow you here. Mitch says there's a book that would make a great campaign platform called Reconstitute U.S. to form a more perfect union. Absolutely, and next week I will be doing an interview with Mitch and Arthur from Rhetorical Entertainment, or the Ridgedale brand, I believe is what they go by now. I did get a copy of the book. I will be reading it. I'm going to read it the day before, though. That way I can just list out some interview questions for you guys. But Mitch, I believe you have a wrench. Go ahead and drop a link for the book. And you guys check it out. I believe it is a decent price for the PDF. And if they sell enough of them, they do want to go to print. And actually, I love real books myself. You know what I mean? I prefer that over PDFs completely. All jokes aside, I am old enough to run for president. I don't have the money. You know what I mean? But I do believe somebody needs to follow up after Trump, okay? Because what this country needs is someone with a clear goal, which I have. My clear goal would be to shrink the size of government. I would write an executive order, guaranteeing that the language of the Constitution be considered when acting upon constitutional laws. What I mean by that is to regulate would be back to make regular, which meant free flow of goods between states. Not that the federal government could regulate every good passing through borders. Therefore, the problem with gun manufacturers in Montana selling, to the state of Illinois would no longer be an issue. Because it shouldn't be an issue. Honestly. The language of the day should be looked at when reading these documents. I am a firm believer in Justice Scalia's determination. The Constitution is not a living document, okay? It does not mature with age. When you are reading the Constitution, a well-regulated militia, that comma means something. And the militia itself is the people, because that's what it was then. It's what it is now. The Second Amendment is not about hunting deer. It wasn't the deer are coming. It was the redcoats are coming. The English language matters. Even if I fucked up speaking it sometimes. Hey, I'm only human. But it still matters. The context matters. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. And again, I like the fact that you brought up to make regular. I believe I brought this up the last time we were talking about it, but you can go find documents, guidelines to how that should be implemented, and it was done by the states. It wasn't mandated by the federal government. If the state didn't want a state militia, they don't necessarily have to enforce that. But many states did because they realized the importance of it, especially coming off the heels of a revolution against, the strongest empire in the fucking world at the time. But they did say, you had to have a weapon, you had to have this much shot, you had to have this much powder,
and you drilled in the town commons on the town common ground on the town parade ground every so often at a regular basis. So you're always practiced, you're always trained. It was a regular thing. It was regular, i.e., well regulated. It wasn't this idea of government mandate, like you have to do this. It wasn't a regulation in the sense that we talk about it now.
Well, no, and the state militia is different from a private militia, which both are authorized and legal. Like the Minutemen were a local civilian militia. They were not a state militia until George Washington actually took command. And then they became the regular army. There's a difference.
Yeah, until the establishment of the Continental Army. Because, well, like today, that's where all our soldiers came from. The same way that you go and sign up for the army now. It's just we didn't have an army at the time. So where are you going to get your soldiers? Well, from the militia.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brian the Observer, I'm going to find an image of you. That's it. I'm hunting you down, and I'm making a t-shirt. I like that. How about Mad Observer for president 2024? Yeah. Instead of Dodge Observer. Because, yeah, they might confuse us with a car. Especially if I'm a cheeky bastard and I put a car on the shirt.
Mad Observer has a better ring to it anyways.
Yeah. Well, good night, everybody. We've hit the 3-hour mark. Batman's taking off. That means, the party's over. We ain't got Bruce Wayne here. Oh, shit. I just gave away who Batman is. Fuck.
Damn it, Dodge. You had one job.
I know. Now it's going to go around YouTube. Bad's a doxer, right?
Don't tempt the internet.
Yeah, right. Thank you, everybody. And we had a bunch of super chats tonight. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it. And seriously, Doku, me, and my wife last night were looking at this. Well, it's a machine, and it will help us with merch and stuff. And it's pretty fucking cool. So hopefully we have some shit in the works here in the next few months. All right. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm getting back on a regular schedule here. So that's good as well. And once again, we're going to be doing some book stuff. We're going to be diving into Rules for Radicals. We're also going to probably piss YouTube off. And we're going to dissect chapter by chapter a book called The South Was Right. That should be fun. We'll see how long that lasts before it becomes a BitChute exclusive. Hey, Doku, any final words?
Nope. If you ever want to do a stream talking about Q, let me know, because I do follow them. I'm not going to go as far as to say I'm a believer in Q, but I find the entire movement to be rather intriguing. So I've been keeping a tab on them. Unless you really want to do it now, because it doesn't really take long. But I'll leave that up. That's in your wheelhouse. You run the streams.
Yeah, we'll do that maybe tomorrow. Maybe after we do a song breakdown, we'll move into that. And we'll probably end up going live a little bit earlier. I believe tomorrow is Friday. You have over on Exiled, the other member of the brand here. You have that stream to go to as well, right? So a little bit earlier.
Yeah, it works for me. We might not be able to hit the 3-hour mark, but I'll find a way to make something happen.
All right. Once again, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it. Good night. Good luck. And once again, a public service announcement from Mad Dodge Productions. When you go to SeaWorld, take your dolphin mace and your rape whistle. They're not messing around. These dolphins smile as they rape you. It is scary. For just $1 a day, you can help Mad Dodge Productions try and prevent and get the word out on dolphin rape. Good night, everybody. I hate to end on such a somber note, but it had to be done.